Checking the things.
Hello,
what were you about to say?
Patrons?
Yeah, this is the patron part, but though anyone who shows in live will get this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It's only the backup is really patron exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Twitch says we're live.
We'll do it live.
Stream Element says we're live.
Nice. Oh, by the way, just for references,
yeah,
I brought my own reference book.
He brought that out of his bag.
You know what's funny? When I was a wee lad, I was actually obsessed with the Titanic for a little while. So
I was too.
I
was the nerdy kid who went to the library and found every book I could find on Titanic and looked at it and read it. And there again, as a little kid, I didn't read a lot because learning disorders and reading disorders a whole bit. But I just found that so fascinating as a kid. And we did Titanic, The Legend Goes On. It's like, okay, this is a funny, stupid movie.
At least that had an anachronistic rapping dog.
It at least had respect for the actual story.
Yes. Oh my word.
It had respect for the fact that people did actually die.
Yes.
Again, I remind you, North Korea.
I think it's more than that, but we'll get there when we get there.
Exactly.
Just double checking, Nate. Can you hear D-Lit when I play it in just a second? I can get my mouse over here.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Then let me. Okay.
Jimmy's loud and clear.
Nice.
Good.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, I'm shooting this live on all three places.
Yeah, we are live on Facebook.
So awesome.
Oh no, the Facebook, the fake book. What?
Fake book.
Some days.
Some days, yes.
Most days, social media anymore is a necessary evil.
Yeah.
I think I got flagged I think it was like last week or something like that about nothing. And I was like, what in the world's going on?
There were 2 times where the Cellcast page got flagged because I posted an episode and there was a word in the title that was considered against rules.
What was that word?
Hunchback.
And
I don't remember what the other one was. It's like, I can't get around it. It's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you need to make sure for the title of this episode you include the word gypsy, because apparently that's a naughty word now.
Yes, apparently. Even though be like I personally have met gypsies in Germany, Romani.
Romani.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say, Romani. And be like, yeah, we're gypsies. That's what they call themselves. And it's more like, okay, do you
once again, I have a strong suspicion this is white people getting offended for people who aren't offended.
Agreed. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that happens way too often.
Agreed.
It's just like when the Ghost in the Shell live action movie came out, or it was about to come out, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, they whitewashed the merger with
Scarlett Johansson."
With Scarlett Johansson. Then I saw a video where somebody went around in Tokyo, I think, and showed random Japanese people the trailer for the movie, or no, the promo image from the movie, and they all loved it. They're like, yeah, she looks just like the Major. It's cool. And then
the funny thing is, you actually watch the movie, they explain why it's a white woman.
Exactly. And not only that, but it's a very Ghost in the Shell sort of story, because they're like, when she was fully human, she was Japanese, and then they took her brain and put it into an android body that was Caucasian and completely changed her identity. That's a Ghost in the Shell story.
Exactly. So it's like, people hush.
Good Lord, people
have to complain about everything or make a hubbub about everything.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm just waiting for a bunch of ethnicities or whatever minority groups to just get together and be like, "Why are you offended for us?" It's like the Mexicans who love Speedy Gonzalez.
Yes,
but
exactly.
All these white people are like, "Oh my gosh, he's so racist," and the Mexicans are like, "No, we love him."
Well, have you heard Gabriel Iglesias talk about how he got the role?
Huh?
They actually came to him and said, "Do you want to change it to update the role?" Make more sense. Says, "No, I think we need to keep it." It's like, "Well, can you do the voice?" And he goes, "Andale, andale, arriba, arriba." It's like spot on. It's like, okay.
Yeah, because what I remember of that story, because they were doing Space Jam Legacy, and they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna cut Speedy because it's racist. We're gonna cut the
Well,
stunt-"
Pepe Le Pew had already been canceled because of rape culture.
Yeah, that's true.
Which makes
But-
no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, because the whole point of Pepe Le Pew is don't be that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's showing how
the
stupid he is.
the comedy is that he thinks he's the coolest guy ever, and
Yeah,
this poor
exactly.
cat is
Nobody
just like,
wants
you
to be
smell
him.
bad, leave me alone.
And the funny one is when the tables get turned and the girl cat's chasing him.
Yeah, and he just
Yeah.
turns and runs.
This is why.
People don't have a sense of humor
I was
anymore.
gonna say that's the thing with these ideologues. They have no sense of humor because the only way you make comedy work is if it violates something in some form or another. Even puns are a violation of language. The
Exactly.
art of comedy is figuring out how far can you push the envelope in terms of violation and still be funny before you get into territory where that hits a little too close to home and people don't find it funny. And that is unfortunately not unfortunately, but that is a subjective line. Some jokes that people will think are the funniest thing ever are not going to work for other people, either because they don't have a frame of reference or it hits a little too close to home. But in order for comedy to work, you need shared experiences. And I think that's another issue that we're running into, is that everyone is so factional anymore, so polarized that they don't laugh at the same things anymore. They don't have enough shared experience. Anyway, I'm done with that rant.
Evening, Kirk. How are you doing? Sorry, my Gamera Blu-rays are in his way.
Cameras.
The
'Cause
Gamma.
I have been working through those.
You got the two separate sets.
Yeah, I couldn't get the full set. I got it two separate times.
It's only available for a hot minute, and it's
Yeah, I know.
now you got to pay, I think, minimum $500 for it anymore.
Probably. I got lucky. I got one used, which is amazing. I got that used. The Show Era stuff I got used. The other one I did get new, but it was on sale because they were having a clearance, and I got lucky.
So it's the Heisei set, so it has the trilogy
Heisei and
and the
Showa.
Brave.
Yeah.
Yes, it does have Gamera the Brave.
Yeah, because there's one that's just the trilogy.
Yeah. No, I did get the Heisei set and I got the Showa set. So
Okay. Yeah, the only there's a couple. What the contents of the discs are the same as what I have. What you're not getting is the massive booklet with really cool essays and things in it, and the
which
comic
is
collection.
cool and all, but I have not read any of the essays in the Godzilla Criterion book, so I doubt
They're
I
not
will
that
read
good. I'm going to
these.
be honest with you.
So-
The Gamera ones are way better.
I'm sure they are, but I never read those things anyway, except when I'm trying to figure out what episode of this movie, of this television show I'm on before I try to figure out which disc I need.
Well,
Because admittedly, as much as I'm enjoying Ultraman, sometimes I come back to it's like, well, Ultraman saved the day from a giant monster. Which episode is that?
yeah, I understand that. I will tell you right now, to the surprise of no one, I pre-ordered that massive set because I wanted the book with all the stuff, because I have a very researched podcast and I have a reputation to uphold.
Right, and you're doing a lot of Ultraman coming up, so
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Are y'all ready to get started?
Yeah, let's rip into this,
Whatever it is. I'm not
You
sure
lost
it's a
it,
movie.
didn't ya? What? You lost it, didn't you?
I lost what?
What you were going to say?
I was going to say his
I
mind.
tripped over while I was trying to say thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
Let's now you made me lose what I was thinking.
Oh, this is going to be a fun night.
Oh, yeah, you're not kidding.
Are you ready to go,
Yeah.
Nathan?
I'm just waiting on you guys at this point.
Okay.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
If it hadn't been for you, I would be now in someone else's digestion.
You know, there's something you should know, so I'm gonna tell you so.
It's Bad Movie Month on the Cellcast.
Don't sweat it, forget it, enjoy the show. Working all day, now it's time to unwind. Kick back, relax, take a load off your mind. I'll be busting the moves and I'll be busting the rhymes. We'll be busting up laughing cause it's party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. If you're Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, when it comes to animated Titanic movies, he prefers the one with the rapping dog in it. Welcome, Jacob.
Why, you're welcome. Oh my gosh. Why, thank you. Let me use our co-host. A man who... Why did he have to convince this giant octopus to throw a iceberg? Welcome, Drew.
How else were we going to get the Titanic to run into a giant block of ice?
I don't know, let history run its course.
I mean, I'm agreeing with this. So, anyway, also joining us tonight is a man who's probably convinced we forced him to review this movie as revenge, as a form of revenge for making us review Skull Island. Welcome, Nathan.
I'm still not convinced otherwise. And neither is Jimmy. And you don't want to screw with Jimmy, who miraculously survived the infamous war in space, and he's an Air Force man.
Right,
He'll
right,
drop bombs on you or something because that's
I recently saw one of his movies because I recently watched that Gamera one. That's based on him.
Oh, Gamera versus Virus?
Yeah, that was a trip.
One of his finest moments, apparently. So.
Indeed. So yeah, it's Bad Movie Month. Which while it's fun to listen to,
It's torture
to watch. At the very least, it gives us plenty of perspective when we get back to the good stuff.
True. To
And
the blessings of good movies.
Yes, and there is a reason why the kaiju guy is on here.
Yes.
Technically, there is.
Yeah.
And is it a kraken? Technically, no, it's an octopus.
Octopus.
Kraken,
It's a very strong
Giant octopus.
yeah, there's technically a kaiju in this, and it's an Italian movie made in North Korea.
Yes.
No
Somehow.
wonder it's an instrument of torture. I should know. I just spent several months wrangling escaped kaiju in both of the Koreas. And let me tell you, the hot minute we were in North Korea, oh boy.
Right.
I think there's still a warrant out for my arrest and Jimmy's.
Oh.
Fun. So yeah,
Because
we will
North
broadcast this in
Korea
North
has
Korea.
the dumbest laws in the world.
Anyway.
By the fun fact, sarcasm, I learned the hard way, is outlawed in North Korea.
Oh, fun.
Because Kim Jong-un is a petulant child who's been put in charge of our country.
D-Lit just said, I bet that worked real well with Jimmy.
He's not the one who got shot at. I'm just saying.
Okay. Nice.
I bet you had to patch a few holes in the in your ship there.
That's after North Korea's most famous kaiju tried to eat it.
So yeah, you had lots of fun with that.
Yeah,
Sounds
literally. He has a thing for iron, and then discovered that Ubermoger is made out of something a little more exotic.
Space iron.
Space titanium, sir.
My apologies.
I don't know. There's probably some space titanium in there somewhere. Ask Jimmy. He put the thing together.
I'm sure.
Explain it to us after the show, okay?
Yeah. On that note, why don't we go ahead and hit our spoiler-free section of our review for this film?
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
I'm sorry, guys. This was my fault. I put this movie on the list.
Thank you very much.
And the only reason I even knew about it was because of Nostalgia Critic. Because I ran into that one we reviewed last time, the Titanic, The Legend Goes On. And I found out there was another movie. It's like, oh, let's see how bad this review is. Oh, this is bad enough. This would be a fun one to review.
Mm-hmm.
No. Might be a fun one to talk about, but
no.
Clearly,
this was harder to watch than Food Fight.
Clearly, this was a movie made by fascists and North Korean dictators.
So communists.
Yeah.
Yes. Fascists and communists. By their powers combined.
This was torture.
Yes.
Pure torture.
But yes, this is of course my first viewing, even though I kind of knew what was going to happen. I just did not know what was going to come in between the points Nostalgia Critic had it actually showed.
See, I saw the Nostalgia Critic review that was a long time ago. I had kind of forgotten about it. And so I had a vague recollection of what was going to happen in it. But then W.T. Henshin. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Oh, I know why. You brought me on because we have a gigantic, over-muscled Octo-child.
Yes.
True. And we thought it was an Octo-kitty.
No, this is an Octopuppy.
Octopuppy. That's what it is. Octopuppy.
It's
Puppy?
kind of puppy-faced.
Yeah, it's got a puppy face. Except it's a big, stupid octopus.
Yeah, except it's his fault.
Yeah, that's true.
It's his fault that the Titanic sank, which I reject wholesale. We all know Godzilla is the one who was responsible because of
Fair.
time travel
That's
shenanigans.
very fair.
Or maybe it was Titanicus from Titanic Creations.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of different stories, but I'm sticking with Godzilla.
The only thing I'm sure of is that it wasn't Gamera.
No, Gamera wouldn't sink a ship like that. That's too big of a jerk move for Gamera.
True. So yeah, Jacob, I think you're the only one who hasn't given his thoughts on this thing yet.
No, I haven't yet. Again, my first time watching it. I get hearing it's like, oh, it's a sequel to this or a prequel, whatever.
It has.
This was actually the first one because the
That's
one we
right, it's the
reviewed,
first one.
the one we reviewed last year,
Yeah,
is technically a mockbuster of this film.
which is
What?
So, yeah, it's a mockbuster.
Yes, and it's more respectful.
Wait. Back the doomed ocean liners up here. The legend goes on.
Yes.
Is a mockbuster of this, which is practically
Which
a
is technically a mockbuster
made
of
by
Titanic.
fascists and communists for the James Cameron movie. I'm not letting that go, guys. North freaking Korea.
my
Which
gosh.
then spawned a sequel and a television show.
Yes.
It's a franchise.
How?
We don't know.
So
And we're gonna have to review the next one next year.
You know, and you're gonna.
I don't know if-
dog at this point.
I mean, Jacob and me will have to do it, whether
Yes.
or not you come along as your own business.
Peril.
Well, if you ask me nicely, and
I mean, admittedly,
Let me,
the sequel
some-
can't be too disrespectful of history, can it?
Maybe.
the sequel involves mer people in Atlantis
And mermaids.
while they're
Mermaids.
trying to search for the Titanic in a bathysphere in 1950.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a thing.
Although if Aquaman makes a cameo, I might forget.
Oh, that would be epic.
I
That would be
don't
okay.
think he does, but
Jason Momoa doesn't make a cameo.
he ought to.
Make the movie better, at least.
Dude, I haven't watched that one yet for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. But if Godzilla doesn't come through and just chomp down on a bunch of those guys, I mean, they're just not following the rules here.
rules. There are rules. We have
There are
rules.
Yeah, it's
What
a
rules?
giant missed opportunity of kaiju proportions.
True.
There you go.
Right.
But yeah,
Okay, good.
first time watching this film. I was gonna post the video on Monday, but I forgot to. Surprise, surprise. ADD got in the way,
Among other things.
among other things, of course. So I'm sitting there, the first like minute and a half, 3 minutes. I'm thinking like, pause. What the crap is going on here? It's
you
revisionist-
pause during the mice part
yes,
when it's just the
it's
setting
revisionist
setting
history.
up the story.
Yeah, it's like, oh, because
That means you pause the minute the old mouse said, "Oh, nobody died. That was all just a big misunderstanding."
exactly, exactly. That was like, wait a minute, I didn't do a recording. Sally had never put it up. I'll probably put it up for you guys later. But
or
oh
lack
my
thereof.
goodness, I kept thinking it's like this is going to be a train wreck beyond belief. And I was like, you know what? We're reviewing it. Give it an open mind. Let's watch and try to enjoy it.
You gotta at least get through the film, then you can get mad at it.
When I looked this movie up on Wikipedia, there was this actually kind of hilarious little excerpt from a review of it where it was a Tim Brayton of alternate ending. I have no idea who he is or what that is, but he gave it a 0.5 out of 5, saying, "A giddy so bad it's the most essential movie I've ever seen. Disaster of tasteless incompetence."
Yes, I read that too.
I did not see that, but I'm not sure I agree.
Oh my word!
But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I watched it. It was like, okay, be like the history nerd in me, the history nerd of Titanic. One of my first real historical geek outs besides Texas history. I was like, what the flamingo? What the heck? It's like, what the world is going on? And like, as the movie rolls and rolls and rolls, I'm like, wait a minute, you just killed everybody.
No,
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying
spoilers.
I'm not spoiling
spoilers. But then again, there were people who I heard stories about people going to see the James Cameron movie and being surprised the boat sank.
Oh yeah. A friend of ours went to the one of the showings with this friend, and a bunch of teenage girls in front of him are just sitting there talking about it. It's an historical event. It happened in 1912. And then all of a sudden he mentions, oh yeah, the boat sank. And without a blink, this teenage girl rolls around and be like, gee, thanks for spoiling it. I'm like, did you not read history?
Apparently millennials didn't pay attention in history class. So I guess the Zoomers, we got one thing in common with the Zoomers.
Thank you for that, Roy.
Thank you.
Anyway,
yeah. So I would not recommend this movie to anybody. If you're an historical amateur historian like I am, avoid this like the Justinian plague. Run. Movie animated movie. It's got good this and this and this, but it's trash.
We will get to that in a minute because I think all of us can agree this is not something you watch for fun.
No, it's not.
Unless you're in a group of people who want to laugh at bad stuff.
Yes. I think Jimmy had to perform CPR on me once because I had a heart attack watching this because of the historical inaccuracies. Yes, we know you hate time travel, and this is why. He blames everything on time travel, guys.
Well, I say, was there time travel in this?
No, he's saying all the historical inaccuracies are due to time travel shenanigans, but that's what he says about everything. Sometimes, Jimmy, I think you are a time travel shenanigan. Calm the heck down. Jeez. Now you've got the foul language here. This is a family show.
Are y'all ready to jump into the full spoiler-filled part of this review?
See.
All right. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film The Legend of the Titanic, an animated classic. Listener discretion is advised.
Classic.
My BS sense was tingling so much. Did you guys watch this on Tubi? I think we all watched this on Tubi,
the only place I could find it.
All right. I would just like to tell everybody this is the false advertising that is on Tubi. All right. It says first it has the audacity to have the subtitle that you mentioned, an animated classic. This is the description, the official description on Tubi. Whoever writes these things for Tubi, I don't know if he needs to be shoved out an airlock or given an award. It says, and I quote, "Come aboard the Titanic in this high quality animated feature for your kids and family. There is a love triangle, a few wicked characters, and a few mice along for the ride."
Really?
Anywho. That guy, I better have gotten a bonus for that much.
Did you see that, guys?
Spin.
Did you see that, guys? I think my brain exploded, and it took me a second to reconstitute it because I could only handle so much BS at once.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
David Gardner in the chat says maybe he writes for the Monster Island Board of Directors.
You know, this sounds like board of directors propaganda to me. I bet this is. God help me if they mandate that this has to be added to the film vault on the island because there's technically a kaiju. By the way, Tentacles is not on the island. We have no idea where that over-muscled octo-child is.
You would think.
Wherever the stupid thing was. Somewhere in the northern Atlantic trying to hide away.
You know what?
Right,
I don't think we're getting into things, but I'm just saying this thing doesn't have a clear sense of history. I'm also doubting its geography knowledge. I'm just saying.
True. But anyway, let's get into it.
Yeah.
This movie was written and directed by Orlando Corradi.
Karate?
Corradi. Corradi.
Like
Corradi.
Like the kid?
I guess. And he also directed 52 episodes of a television show called Sissy the Young Empress.
Okay.
It was also directed by
what is that? Like an Italian magical girl show or something?
Yes.
Who knows, man?
I don't know.
I'll ask my pseudo sister.
Sailor Pasta. I don't know.
Sailor Pasta. You are one to talk about racism, okay? Did you watch this movie?
Hey, that mouse clearly said he wasn't racist. Speaking of racism,
oh my god!
Because we wanted to have a love square.
It was also directed by Kim J. Oak. Okay, that's how it's spelled. Kim J. Oak. I'm guessing on that pronunciation.
He's the communist.
Well, he directed something called Simba Jr. and the Football World Cup.
Yes, I've read
Not
about
football,
that. I'm pretty sure it's a Kim Jong-il production.
Would not be surprised.
This is 1999. He was in charge.
It was also written by Clelia Castaldo, Loris Piotta, and Ted Russoff. Ted Russoff is the one who wrote the English version of this. So, yeah, there was a dub here.
But is he a fascist or a communist? I need this as
worse. He's a capitalist. Ow! Getting into the cast.
Italian or American?
This is the English cast. I looked to see if it gave an Italian cast, and if it did, I couldn't figure out which ones it was.
Well, I went.
It
to
says
Wikipedia. Original version on Wikipedia.
Yeah. I went to Wikipedia and got the English voice cast names, and then that's what I pulled from IMDb to get the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I sometimes have to do with anime. So,
right,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
If you found Kingdom Hearts connections,
let's get there when we get there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there are some.
Hold your horses.
Gregory Snegoff.
That's
this guy's last name.
Snegoff.
He played Saltivers, Smiley, Mr. Ice, Mouse Captain, and additional mice. Oh, and he played a character named Coco Bill in Coco Bill. Yeah, something anyway, he was also Fritz in Titanic. The Legend Goes On.
Oh no, there's connection in this thing.
Oh, there's a couple.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
Apparently he does a lot of voiceovers for anime.
Fair enough. Francis Pardalian was the voice of Don Juan. And he played a character named Prince Farhat in Farhat, the Prince of the Desert.
flat hat. Okay.
That's what I'm guessing. Jane Alexander was the voice of Elizabeth Camden, Tentacles, and the Grandchildren. He was the voice director for whatever Cocoa Bill is.
Okay, you keep bringing it up. Now I'm going to figure it out.
It's like she was the voice director for whatever Cocoa Bill is. Anna Mazzotti was the voice of Ronnie, Stella, the Dolphins, and additional mice. And she played Zilpa in a adaptation of Joseph in the Amazing in his dream coat, from the Bible.
Yes.
For some reason, I only put Joseph, and now I feel bad. Anyway, Sean Patrick Lovett played Top Connors, Camembert, Jeffries, Don Juan's friend, and the horse. And this is his only credit.
Okay.
On all of IMDb.
Okay. Cocoa Bill is a Western based on a book character named Cocoa Bill.
I will take your word for that.
Yeah. Ran from 2000 2004, 104 episodes.
I think that's probably why I chose that, because it's like I looked at it and go, oh, this is what you're most well known for.
Yeah.
And I've never even heard of this thing. So
it looks like it's an Italian show.
That's not a surprise. Teresa Pascarelli was the voice of Rachel and the Dolphins. And she played Pocahontas in Pocahontas, Princess of the American Indians.
Yes. By the way, people, we're talking about talking animals in a Titanic movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fred Von Kuglichen was the voice of Captain Edward J. Smith.
An actual historical figure.
He was the voice director on Titanic. The legend goes on. Last but not least, John Stone played Mr. Cray, and I'm not kidding with this particular credit type name, the shark with Tourette syndrome.
What?
I did not hear one shark in this whole movie have Tourette's. Did I miss it?
I don't know.
Jacob, as the resident Tourette's expert.
Okay. Yes.
Did you happen to diagnose any of the sharks?
Quite, yes. It's like, no, I'll be like Tourette's shark.
I don't remember a
Tourette's. Tourette's shark sounds like one of those bad random shark movies that you used to come across in video stores, and now we're on like they just throw all of them onto Tubi now.
Right.
All it is it's a shark that just randomly shouts profanities or barks like a dog right before it eats you. So it's like, nah, 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 dang it!
Okay, this John Stone, he was Mr. Benson in The Killing of Angel Street. Not the killing on Angel Street, the killing of. So he must have killed the whole street.
Wait. Maybe it's the name of a woman or a man for that matter, because apparently Angel is a unisex name. A name of a person named Angel Street.
Well, it was
just
Mr.
like
Benson.
It's just like the school I went to, the college I went to, there was actually a girls' dorm that was called Bethany Hall. And I'm like, I want there to be an actual student here named Bethany Hall just to make jokes about living inside of her.
Oh, my word.
That's not how I meant it. But go ahead, fellas. You went there. Yes. Dirty minds, all of you.
Kingdom Hearts connections. I want y'all to guess how many.
4.
2.
Okay. You're both wrong.
What?
You said you're both wrong.
Yeah, 1.
He changed his guess.
Yeah, he went to 1 after I said he was wrong.
Yeah.
What are you guessing? Or you want to guess again?
3.
You're still both wrong.
What?
The answer?
Higher or low?
0.
You got it, Nate. There's
Did it
no
not?
Kingdom Hearts
Oh my
connection.
gosh, he found a movie with 0 Kingdom Hearts connections.
Actually, this isn't the first
No,
time.
it's not.
But this was the first time I was like, please, Lord, let there not be one.
He has answered my prayers. I'm just thinking, like 24 years ago, God's like, I'm gonna get a prayer from a nerd in Texas about how there should be no Kingdom Hearts connections in this movie, and I'm gonna make sure that happens. Dang it!
So, Jacob, what do we have in info and stuff?
All right, give me a moment. All right, so
Hang on. Moments given.
all right. Crap. Hold on. One more minute. Not helping.
So professional.
Yes, exactly.
That happens.
So professional.
Professional podcaster, right here, folks.
We've been doing it for 4.5 years.
True.
And it
So-
took coming on my show to finally get him barking.
So
Well,
true.
a crossover. It took a crossover to
It was a
finally get him.
crossover.
Yes, it was a crossover.
And it literally happened again like 2 weeks later.
Yes. It was glorious.
Woof.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'd be like, so in the middle of doing my notes, I was like, wait a minute, because I skipped over IMDb what the rating was. So it was like,
It can't
what?
be good.
No, it's not good. Trust me. So
Fascist and communist. We get it.
Yes.
all right. So on IMDb, it has a rating of 1.4 out of 10.
That high?
Yeah, that high.
I'm surprised.
It's not a negative. It's still just a 1.4.
How does that compare to the other one, the Mockbuster?
I don't remember.
I think it was slightly better, but not by much.
Slightly better.
Okay,
I think
I'm
the
gonna
Rapping
find
Dog made it a
out.
little better of a movie.
I must find out.
And there again, the poor animals on this boat.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Along with the geese from Aristocats.
Oh my.
Oh
God.
my gosh. What did you wait? No, that's a wait. I think that's
It's a
different one.
1.4.
Yeah, wait.
That's it.
I was looking at the wrong.
Nope.
Oh. The legend goes on is higher by a whole 1/10 of a point.
Look, I will tell you, the other movie
it
is far
gets-
better.
It gets a 1/10 of a point higher for the anachronistic rapping dog. Let's be
That's
honest.
we
exactly what it is.
There we go. It's got this little bit of a bump. Little bit. All right. So watch. You can watch it on Tubi TV. It's free. Go
Why?
watch. Be like, I wouldn't recommend watching this film, but if you want to go watch it, it's for free.
I believe you can also rent it off of YouTube.
Yeah, you can. Why would
For
you?
like $1.99.
Again, why? Who would want to rent this?
I have
Go-
no idea.
Go watch it on Tubi. You know, go
If you must.
if you must be like get a
You
a
can
bunch of
you can
friends.
also
Yeah.
watch it for free on Sling TV and Vudu,
True.
and you can own it for the low price of $6.69 on Google Play
Too
and
much.
on
Yeah,
Amazon
much.
Prime.
I didn't pay that much for the DVD of Food Fight, so
And I'm sure. Let's find out how. Keep talking. I'm going to find out the DVD price for this.
Oh my gosh.
For this
All right,
thing.
I will tell you my price for Food Fight was $2.99.
all right.
And you still felt
production-wise-
like you overpaid.
I did.
yes. Production wise was SEK Studio, ITB Spain, not kidding, Hollywood Game Productions United States, Mudu Television.
By the way, SEC, those are the commies.
Yeah.
I imagine.
The K stands for Korea.
Yeah, I imagine. All right, so distribution was by
Wait, no, that's to stream it. Okay, never mind. I thought I found it anyway. Keep talking.
distribution by Moto TV. Release date, granted, it's only give me the release date for in Italy. Was on April 17th, 1999.
That's still around the time the Titanic craze was going on. So
Yeah, it was. And this is a blatant ripoff of James Cameron's, what I understand, a masterpiece. I have not seen Titanic yet.
Okay. I am incredibly confused because this also lists a movie that has a suspiciously similar cover and character designs from 2014 called In Search of the Titanic, an animated classic.
That's the sequel.
Oh,
that's the one in Atlantis.
Oh, no.
Where the king of Atlantis looks like a dark lord of the Sith.
That automatically gives it 1/10 of a point more.
Yes. And so, speaking of sequels, the only thing I'd be like, there's no box office trivia at all. There's no like box office dates. There's no home release. No nothing. You can't find the stuff on this. Be like, by the way, did you find anything that you can actually buy this train
other than
movie?
buying a digital version? I can't find a DVD.
Wow.
Of this
Okay.
thing.
Nothing.
I know on the Nostalgia Critic, he actually had a physical copy of this thing.
Wow.
Well, I found what
I'm sure it's like one of those print on demand.
Well, no. This is a different movie, and it's a Region 2 DVD, and it costs $27, but it's not this movie.
Okay, that makes
Region
sense.
2 though. That's
Japan. At least I think that it looks really anime-ish, so it's got to be different.
It's got to be something else.
Yeah.
It's got to be something else. It's an anime mockbuster.
Yeah. So the only bit of information I have left over this film is that as a sequel, In Search of Titanic came out in 2004.
And apparently a TV series.
I don't understand. I don't understand the TV series.
My doggy brain is going, poof, what the heck?
I mean,
I for the life of me, I cannot find out if the physical copy of this is available.
I mean, I understand why Land Before Time has a sequel TV series, because they were just that series was apparently just printing money.
Mm-hmm.
But still. Anyway, you ready for the summary?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Strap in, people. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
In modern day New York City, 1999, an old mouse named Connors tells his grandchildren the supposedly true story of the RMS Titanic.
I want to go mouse now.
After discouraging one of his grandchildren from playing with a shark whistle.
Oh my gosh, that stupid shark whistle.
In April 1912, Connors was a young sailor mouse on the Titanic's main voyage from Southampton to New York. He is in charge of taking account of the mice who are making the trip through various maritime protocols. A young mouse from Reclife, Brazil, named Ronnie, who enjoys playing soccer, befriends Connors, who falls in love with Ronnie's sister, Stella. Meanwhile, a rich aristocratic woman named Elizabeth, her family, which includes her father, the Duke of Camden, and a young Romani Spanish man named Don Juan, who also falls in love with Elizabeth, following Smiley taking her glove and passing it to him, board the Titanic, which immediately sets off. Connors and Ronnie learn all about what's going on with Elizabeth by their observations during the trips through the ship's ventilation system. And we learn that, what's his name? Ronnie is not racist. They are appalled by the way Elizabeth is being treated badly, with her family insisting she marries a whaling mogul named Everard Maltravers and decides to help her. When Elizabeth goes to the bow of the ship that night, some dolphins begin communicating with her, explaining its possibility through magic moonbeams, catching her tears as they fall into the water.
Which makes no sense.
They tell her of a conspiracy by her fiancé, Maltravers, as he wishes to marry her just to get permission from her father to have global access to the oceans for his whaling operations. Maltravers' manservant, Jeffries, is ordered to spy on Elizabeth's activities and uses the same whistle from the present story at the stern of the ship to call a jail attire wearing shark named Mr. Ice, asking him to arrange the destruction of the ship.
We have gangster sharks. Someone saw West Side Story and took it too literally.
Elizabeth tells her father that she wants to marry Juan, and he agrees. Yeah, go listen to Elsa for why that's a bad idea.
Exactly.
Having failed to achieve their wedding plan, Elizabeth's stepmother and Maltravers decides to resort to drastic measures. They decide to hold Elizabeth's father up at gunpoint, force him to sign the whaling concession, and tie him up. Meanwhile,
but wasn't this after they said we're gonna sink the ship?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mr. Ice and the gang of sharks prepares to sink the Titanic. Jeffries asks the radio man to send an urgent wire from Maltravers to his whaling ships by telegraph, but the mice chew apart the wires to stop it from being sent. Ice and his gang of sharks fools a giant octopus named Tentacles into heaving an iceberg to the surface of the ocean. The Titanic crashes into the iceberg, during which Maltravers and his entourage flee the ship in a lifeboat. In order to fix the telegraph wires, the mice enlist the help of a French mouse named Camembert, who insists that they tie the wires to his mustache, seemingly electrocuting him to death. Such adjectives. Elizabeth and Juan manage to save her father and escort him to a lifeboat, but don't get in themselves. Suddenly, several whales and dolphins arrive to help with the rescue, while a guilt-ridden but determined Tentacles tries to hold the bow and stern together as they are splitting apart and keeping the ship on the surface for as long as possible. Elizabeth, Juan, Connors, Ronnie, and Smiley jump off the Titanic and somehow survive into the sea and are saved by a whale. Once everyone on the ship has been saved, yes, you heard me right, the Titanic finally sinks, taking Tentacles with it and seemingly crushing him. In the morning, the passengers are taken
He's an octopus.
I know, I'm just reading what it says.
Also, that water is maybe 2 degrees above freezing.
Maybe. Yeah. In the morning, the passengers are taken aboard the RMS Carpathia. The said ship arrives in New York
Carpathia
and disembarks the passengers.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Elizabeth and Juan are married, as are Connors and Stella. It is revealed that Tentacles and Camembert have somehow actually both survived. Everyone celebrates at the Brooklyn Bridge, congratulating Tentacles for saving everybody. The film ends with old Connors and Stella back in modern-day New York, and Connors telling his grandchildren the whales are still hunted and that they must do whatever they can to stop the whaling scheme at all costs. Stella
because the moral of the story, kids, is save the whales.
Oh, hang on, I ain't done yet.
What?
Stella ends off the film by telling her grandchildren, "Your grandfather loves to tell stories, but like all sailors, you shouldn't take them too seriously." Well, we just lied to for an hour and a half!
Was this a whale of a tale?
Opinions.
Are you ready
Opinions.
for the trivia?
I am filled to the brim with opinions.
Well, before you get to your opinions, we got trivia still.
Yes, we do.
Dang it. We know the movie was made by fascists and communists. Moving on.
We know that part. There's a common misconception about the film being called the other animated Titanic movie due to another animated movie about the Titanic disaster titled Titanic: The Legend Goes On in 2000.
This isn't confusing at all.
Many internet reviewers, including Channel Awesome, aka the Nostalgia Critic, have made this mistake. To clear things up, this movie came out a year before The Legend Goes On, making the latter a mockbuster to a mockbuster.
This is mockbuster Inception.
Yes, it is.
This movie was
But wait, it's a mockbuster that spawned a franchise that then had a mockbuster. Did the mockbuster get
No, it only got the one movie.
Oh, okay.
Which is, of course, it only got the one movie. It was the better film.
That is the sad part.
I love the way this piece of trivia begins. This was probably inspired by James Cameron's blockbuster movie Titanic.
No, scene for scene recreation. Come on here.
There are many similarities between the two.
You think?
Such as the main plotline of a rich first-class woman who breaks up with her rich fiancé, whom she doesn't love, in order to be with a man traveling in third class on the ship, and both feature theme songs which play during the end credits, and their instrumental version which plays during key moments of the film. These theme songs are My Heart Will Go On in Cameron's film and Ocean Dreams in this film. Ocean Dreams, that sounds too much like Ocean Waves. And we all know how I felt about that one.
You know, I got really annoyed with that. With My Heart Will Go On. I'm still not a big fan of it. I think it should be banned from weddings, but I'll still take it over this.
I got one last one.
Go for it.
There's more? But wait, there's more, and you don't want it.
This film is controversial.
You think?
In the eyes of many people, due to the fact that it changes the historic story of the Titanic by saying no one died on the voyage, even though over 1,503 people had died in real life during the voyage. The creators of the film changed the event up for this story to put an anti-whaling message in their film. However, it was met with much deserved backlash.
Or blame North Korea.
You're not wrong.
I will be nice to the Italians because they gave us modern civilization and pizza.
True.
And The Godfather.
So
what good has North Korea ever given us?
Anyway.
Yes.
So here becomes the hardest part of tonight.
Yes.
Coming up with likes for this film.
Yes.
Nate, do you have any
likes?
You gotta have
likes,
one, at least.
Jimmy, can you give me the notes I jotted down while I was watching this? Okay, let me see. Let me flip through this a little bit here. Let me okay, I found one. Tentacles is a kaiju.
The whole reason Nate was on the show was tentacles.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Tentacles is a kaiju, and my joke is not working. Unfortunately, I just wrote on the back of every single page this movie sucks, and unfortunately, it's not showing up on here. StreamYard has defeated my joke because I needed to have a green screen.
Yes.
Anyway, yes, Tentacles is technically a kaiju. He's an abnormally large octopi.
He's still a child.
Yes.
Who's apparently an over-muscled child who throws icebergs, and he can talk, and he can hold ships together, and he's abnormally intelligent. So yes, he fits the definition of kaiju. Congratulations, movie. You have justified me appearing on the Cellcast for this movie.
Okay, Jacob?
My first like and my only like of this film is the animation is good in certain parts.
Yeah, let's say in certain parts.
In certain parts. Oh, it's far better than Titanic. The Legend Goes On. That animation garbage.
Well, I mean, they literally stole all their designs from other things.
That is true. That is true. The animation in this movie is done very well in certain parts of the film. It's got a little bit of, it's fluid in some cases. I'm not saying all the time, but animation wise, I give it props for animation in some cases. In other cases, like, what the war were you thinking?
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there. My only like for this film,
here we go,
is actually character designs.
Fair.
For the most part, the character designs are very well done. They would have been great for a storybook. Animated is another matter entirely.
Fair.
But yeah, there was a lot of times when I had to pause the movie. I looked up and go, "Oh, that's actually not a bad illustration." I had to pause this movie multiple times.
Yeah. So I just want to pause right here. Can you click on Paladin Pirates last
5 minutes of likes, 2 hour dislikes. Welcome to Bad Movie Month.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Do we have any other likes before we start ripping this film a new one?
I strained really hard for more. Strained.
No, I didn't.
And it's really only the kinds of things that I would probably point out, which, going off of your far too generous praise of the animation, I said, well, at least the ballroom dancing looks right, because I actually know how to ballroom dance. And whenever I see ballroom dance scenes in movies now, I'm always like, are they doing it right? No, they're not. Actually, in this one, they were technically doing it correctly. And I was mildly astonished.
Yes.
Mildly astonished.
Can do something right.
Yes, they can.
They can do something right. Does anyone have any more? Because I do have one more.
Oh,
I don't.
No, I don't either.
Okay. The iceberg is my new best friend because it hit the dang ship and made stuff happen in the plot and got the movie over faster.
Fair.
See, here's the problem with likes for this one is that most of the ones I came up with were like, oh, this did it slightly better than the other film.
You're not kidding.
At least this one, when the iceberg hit, they didn't repeat the same scene of the water flooding the bowels of the ship 5 times in a row.
Yes.
I could have swore there is some animated Titanic movie out there where they get even more historically inaccurate and they don't even have the ship hit the dang iceberg.
I
don't
want to find out the name of that one because then we'll probably have to review it. So yeah, what's your? Is that all the likes you got?
Yeah,
that was it. Ballroom dancing actually looks decent, and the iceberg is my new best friend.
Okay, dislikes. Out of curiosity,
calm down, Jimmy. I'm kidding.
Out of curiosity, is the fact that this movie completely is historically inaccurate on all our lists?
Yes.
I'm saving that one for last because I need time.
Okay, we will come back to that. Nathan, what are some of your other dislikes?
How long you want to be here?
Let me count.
Try to limit yourself to 3 total.
Okay. I am going to completely
not counting the historical
completely disagree with Dogman Jacob here. The animation in this is horrible.
Okay.
It is horrible. This is like anime made with $5 and a wad of pocket lint.
If I can provide support.
Yes, thank you.
For my co-host, he did say in some places he thought it was
I will
good.
grant him that, but the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like people say that like some of the new CGI anime that comes out that is stiff. Of like, have you seen this movie? This is 2D animation. It's incredibly stiff. The lip syncing makes no sense in this, and I put that at the feet of the animators because sometimes the characters are talking and lips are not moving.
Yeah, agreed.
And half the time, the English voices are not even trying to match lip flaps. And
we'll get to that a little. We'll get to that too. But I'm just like, I was making so many dislikes that I just had to come up with umbrella terms for all of them. But the animation is stiff. I thought some of the character designs were just wacky or boring, and it's not the good kind of wacky. And these are storybook characters that are in the wrong movie.
Agreed.
And some of them I don't find to be very original. I'm just like, we get it. Blonde rich girl. Yay. I mean, I was to the point where I'm like, she gets the power to talk to animals inexplicably through moonbeams. Someone give her a wand. She has some moon prism power going on, and Don Juan needs a mask.
Well, I mean, he is wearing a tuxedo.
Oh my gosh.
And a cape.
Sailor Moon on the Titanic.
I will take Sailor Moon on the Titanic over this. It would be horribly historically inaccurate, but it would be infinitely more entertaining. Come the frick on! The Sailor Scouts fighting a sea monster on the Titanic.
Godzilla.
Sign me up. It would be bonkers, but still more entertaining. This is one step away. We have magic moonbeams and a dude in a tuxedo with a cape.
And a talking dog.
Talking dog. We just need a cat.
There were 2 cats. They did not survive.
Oh my god.
Oh, by the way, fact check. There were animals on the Titanic and they all died except for 3 dogs.
Yes.
And none of them were Dalmatians.
No.
The legend goes on.
Yes. But there were dogs, there were cats, there were chickens.
Yeah.
And it says and other birds and an unknown number of rats. And they all died except for 3 dogs.
How do you know one of those rats didn't survive on a lifeboat?
They probably got eaten. It's too cold. I'd be like, I gotta do something. Oh, rat. No.
I don't think the Carpathia took that long to get to them.
It took to most of the morning.
Yes,
I just say this movie was so bad. I was doing simple research to point out how wrong it is.
Well, we haven't got to historical inaccuracies yet.
We're getting there.
Jacob, what is one of your dislikes?
My gosh. Okay, so one of my dislikes of heavy dislikes on this movie. So we have the let me get my notes back up. Come on, D-Lit. All right, so the brave, what is he? He's French mouse?
I don't know.
Okay,
they got the ethnicities completely wrong in this too.
The Brazilian one does not sound like he's Brazilian.
No,
none of these accents sound right.
They don't.
Okay, James Doohan is looking at the Scottish mouse and being like, that's terrible even for me, Lottie.
If you're referring to Camembert, he was supposed to be French.
There we go, Camembert.
He's supposed to be French? I thought he was Scottish.
He's French. He's named after a French cheese. I'm assuming he's French.
So,
Camembert. This is the textbook definition of wandering accent.
Yes. So Camembert, who shows up and just like he's in the scenes, he pops up and be like, "Oh, we got to reconnect the wire, the
telegraph wire,
to the Manicore."
Who they which the freaking mice chewed? They are responsible for people dying, but then they conveniently make sure nobody dies, so the mice can't take any blame.
No, y'all are missing the problem here. The problem isn't that Camembert was existed. It's the fact that he died and came back to life.
Exactly. It's what I'm trying to get to. Thank you very much. It's like he willingly sacrifices himself. You see, I mean, like Ezra pointed out yesterday,
have you
his nose is blinking. You see him die on screen.
Have you
considered like really touching, moving scene? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm actually touched by this terrible film. And then we get to the very end of the film, and everybody's safe for some freaking reason.
They even say, "Wait, I thought he got electrocuted." Oh,
exactly.
You know these old sailing mice. They can survive anything.
20,000 volts
through your nose.
Hey, guys, I just have one question. Have you considered our Lord and Savior Camembert?
Sorry, I did not know we had French mouse Jesus.
That is a meme right there. Yes. French mouse Jesus.
Oh my god.
I mean,
that's
we know he's not
band name right
because
there.
he survived in the sun.
That is true. But oh my gosh, that one particular scene is where Camembert willingly sacrifices his life in order to get the what is that machine?
Telegraph.
Yeah, the telegraph machine to work again, even though they freaking shoot through it.
I would like to know how. I would like to know
different parts of that wiring system, and they only had to connect one up through his mustache.
Yeah,
I want to know what his mustache is made of that it can conduct electricity.
Exactly.
It's like it's like a battery. It doesn't have enough batteries. It's gonna short. So, anyways, you have this amazing heartfelt point where Camembert gives up his life and you see him actually die, or at least it seems that he dies. It's so touching and so heartbreaking. And it's like, oh, that amazing scene. And then he comes back in the very end and just guts the entire thing. It's like, what the Hades are you doing? You had this amazing scene. At least give the character at least a good death to where at least someone dies in this movie.
Our Lord and Savior, Kevin Christ.
So yeah, that scene, I mean, like, it was touching, it was heartwarming, it brought it literally just it moved me in some ways. And then you see his stupid French, right? French,
I think he's French.
Okay,
he's named after a French cheese. I'm making a
nobody knows. He has a French name and a Scottish accent.
He's European.
European mouse shows up in the end. Like, where the heck did you come
European
from?
mouse Jesus.
Fried Jesus point. You're the bells of the ship. You got fried. Why are you back? Oh yeah, the magic of friendship.
No, this wasn't the magic of friendship. This was the magic of black convenience. And we can't let anybody die. It's for the children.
For the children. I know one of my friends on the island is a robot powered by plot convenience. I know plot convenience when I see it.
Like, it literally takes the best part of this film that this character willingly sacrifices himself in order to save everybody. Minus they were already doing telegraphs the entire time. So how in the world did that happen? Anyways, so yeah, let's not get to historical inaccuracies yet, but we'll get there. So yeah, Camembert's worthless sacrifice, because he literally be like, oh, I could become fried cheese, and then I come back magically at the very end of the movie. Thank you very much, movie. What is yours, Drew?
The 3D animation they use in this movie looks like it was animated on a potato.
Oh, the PS1 graphics.
Dude, it's not even PS1. This is Star Fox SNES.
Oh my gosh.
Star Fox SNES looks better than this.
Shadows and everything.
Oh, good night.
I have seen indie kaiju movies from several years after this with better CGI.
Look, here's the thing. If it had just been shots of the ship and they hadn't tried to put people in it, I could let it go. But they put people in it, and they are literally flat textures that are standing up. They look like cardboard cutouts. Yes. And it's kind of okay on the shots where they're zooming in on the pilot's cabin. Pilot cabin. That's not what that's called. The bridge of the ship.
Yes.
And you see the guy at the helm, and he's obviously cardboard cut up, but they kept it at the right angle where it's like, okay, this looks okay. That's great.
Gosh.
I can let it go.
Nope.
Until you get to the end of the film and they're in New York and everybody and their dog is one of these textures because they had to make all of New York in 3D. And it's like, it looked like a baseball stadium during COVID-19.
Oh my gosh, that was a good one. That was good.
Or the really bad knockoff CGI chandelier that they stole from Beauty and the Beast. Couldn't render properly.
Oh, and the church is not in much better shape either with all them.
Yeah, the church, the Brooklyn Bridge.
So bad.
It's like, guys, Toy Story already came out and it looks 100 times better than this 5 years ago.
But, Drew, is it better than MPR the movie?
No. No, because you want to know why? Because this is worse than the animation scene in The Adventures of Andre and Wally B from 1985, Pixar's first animated short film that was still, when it was still part of Lucas Industrial Light and Magic, and they were barely able to crank that thing out.
Hot take. No, not really.
It looks like garbage.
And here I've been sitting here saving the Rant Master button for later.
Oh, this ain't Rant Master yet.
No, it's not. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Go
my
ahead.
turn? Is it my turn again?
Yes, it's your turn.
My turn again. This is the worst dub acting I have heard in a long time. And I've seen some awful. I should say I've heard some awful dubs.
I mean,
I
when
watch
you're worse than Leo the Lion.
I watch
Oh,
tokusatsu
you're not
martial arts
kidding.
movies and anime. I've heard terrible dubs. This, what even the heck? Everyone is phoning it in. They don't even. They're not trying to match the lip movement. Sometimes I swear these characters have telepathy. And they're talking without their mouths moving. And I'm like, what the frick is going on? The performances are weird. The accents make no sense. They're not actually accurate to the characters, if they're doing accents at all. I swear in the beginning, every single character is voiced by the same guy. And by the way, all of those mice in the bookend story, they look like the unholy love children of Fievel Mouskowitz and Chuck E. Cheese. I want to know how that happened.
I believe the guy's name you're talking about that voiced all those characters was Greg Snegnoff.
Why does he suck? He's supposed to be the Frank Welker of this movie, and he sucks. He phoned everything in. Everything. Okay, if you're gonna do a bad dub, at least be entertaining. All right, at least be entertaining with it. Listen to the dub for Godzilla versus Megalon. I swear it's like this. It's only like one guy doing everybody, but at least it's entertaining to listen to.
Well, in his defense, the movie is just fun and entertaining to watch anyway, even though the story is kind of
This, you know, if they had just decided, you know what, this movie is awful, we're just gonna ham it up with this dub, it at least would have been kind of entertaining. Just go nuts with it. I mean, like,
they should have done it. They should have done it like Ghost Stories.
Ghost Stories, the anime Ghost Stories, when they made the anyway.
Yeah,
So
Ghost
they
Stories
just went bonkers.
Yeah, the anime you're talking about is Ghost Stories.
Yeah, that's why I said Ghost Stories. Yeah, like they said that it's terrible, so we're just gonna be goofy.
Yeah, I've watched bits of that. I can't watch that whole show because it's like it's messed up.
Agreed.
I'm just saying, you should have just hammed it up. Just go full. It's full of mites anyway. Just go full tilt cheese with it. All right.
Yes, they should have embraced the cheese because it would have been Gouda for them. Jacob.
So when we are introduced to our lovely cast of characters in the beginning of this film, it is trying its darndest to emulate everything from James Cameron's Titanic. From shot angles to everything. Introduction to Elizabeth, aka Rose. Every single thing about this character is Rose. What I understand. But that's not what I'm referring to. So we get introduced to Don Juan.
Oh my gosh.
Don Juan.
He makes he does. Okay, first off, that name
he's
is
missing
so
for half the movie.
And is completely counter to the literary source. And he makes no sense. I thought he was a gypsy, but he's actually a Spaniard. I am so confused.
No. He's a Spaniard gypsy.
Yeah.
Because along with being
I looked it up. There are no Spanish gypsies.
That doesn't matter. They say he's from Spain, but they also say he's the prince of the gypsies.
Yeah.
They say both. So in the context of this film, he's both.
Well, I guess it's already thrown history to the Titanic history out the window, so we'll just throw every other bit out too.
Very true.
History be darned in this movie.
Yeah,
we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, third dislikes are coming, people. So just brace for impact or iceberg right ahead.
Tentacles got throwy.
I still like the iceberg more than tentacles. The iceberg is my friend.
So, anyways, we get introduced to Don Juan, and he's dancing. It'd be like he sees Elizabeth clear shot. He can see her, clear shot. And so he sends apparently Smiley is not his dog. Apparently Smiley officially not his. He's just a friend apparently. But he goes and this weaving of trying to get to Elizabeth. It's like it's a straight shot. Why are we doing all this? most ridiculous
padding.
Yeah, I know it's padding. It's stupid padding. It's stupid padding trying to introduce characters who mean nothing in the story. So
I would like to point out that this thing barely had enough story for 30 minutes, let alone 90.
Agreed. So be like, you get Elizabeth with Smiley. The dog steals her glove, runs back to his friend, gives him the glove, and what does Don Juan do? Smell it like a pervert. Just,
at least it was a glove, and I'll leave it at that.
oh my gosh. And I was like, this is the most creepiest thing in the world. I'm like, really? This is supposed to be our lead hero character who's supposed to do this, and he's smelling her glove? It's
what hero character? These characters do
no chemistry whatsoever.
These characters do practically nothing the entire movie.
Exactly.
The villains are slightly more proactive.
Exactly.
At least they're doing things. The talking animals are the ones who do most of the work.
And that entire introduction to these characters is like, oh my gosh, I see this girl, I want to sniff her glove. Or
there's your episode title. There is your episode title right there. Right there. I must smell this girl's glove.
Yeah, exactly. But it gives that like, oh, this is not going to be good at all. And then you get this weird, it's like, oh, she doesn't want to be in love with, she's not in love with this creepy old guy, oil tycoon.
Eye Patch Man?
Yeah,
the most obviously evil guy ever.
He's evil dude for evil's sake.
Yeah. You know what they should have done? And this would have been stupid, but at least
have a Klingon bird of prey,
a nice callback.
Ouch!
What?
Shoot him?
No. So he first becomes interested in her because the dog brings back the glove and he smells it. If they it would have been stupid, but at least maybe if like they meet for the first time or whatever, like in that stupid scene where they finally get together, maybe she gives him the other glove and he's like, oh, it is you.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Reverse Cinderella.
Yeah, reverse Cinderella. Where's my glove? That would have been an interesting plot.
And then she's like, here, have the other one. And so now he has the complete pair. And she's like, oh, it smells the same. It must be you.
But yeah,
because then that would have at least been a decent example of writing. Still stupid and creepy, but at least slightly better example.
And how these two characters fall in love with each other. It's like, because the stupid
have you never watched Disney movies?
It's true love. And for something to be like, oh, our main character can speak to dolphins because she's a
Disney princess on the Titanic.
No, Disney princesses have more respect than this.
Oh, yeah, agreed. Oh my gosh.
She's a wannabe Disney princess on the Titanic.
Agreed, and it's done terribly.
She's like not even Dollar General Disney princess. She's Dollar Tree Disney princess.
But yeah,
because the only store that's going to carry the DVD of this is Dollar Tree.
True. But oh my gosh, the coupling of these two characters is most ridiculous. There's no chemistry between them whatsoever, except for like, oh, he's handsome, she's beautiful, of course. And then you got the bad villain mistakes.
I love how the dad subtly is just like, you know what? I just want you to be happy so you don't have to marry Eye Patch Man, even though you've clearly been arranged to marry Eye Patch Man for months now. I just want you to be happy. Oh, I give you my blessing to marry a guy you met yesterday.
It's 1912 civilization. Just saying, this is infuriating me beyond belief.
To quote Queen Elsa in the movie Frozen, you can't marry a man you just met.
Agreed. And the pairing of Don Juan and Elizabeth Swan.
That name.
Yeah.
You don't. Okay, if you're a Spanish gypsy parent, you only name your son Don Juan if you want to curse him to be a cad or just alone forever. Because even if he turns out a good dude, no woman will ever want to go near him.
Yeah. Yeah. So the pairing of these two do not make any sense. The point where they had their dance scene and they're both coming at an angle when they're on a flat plane on the first promenade deck. That has more problems than anything else for me. But it's just like, Why are they coming at this angle when it's the flush of the promenade deck? It makes no sense. They're coming at angles, but it's a flat screen. It's flat. It's on the promenade.
Hashtag blame North Korea.
Blame North Korea.
I blame the potato they animated this on.
Oh, you're not kidding. But oh my gosh, it's so stupid. The characters' relationship is so stupid. And it's just like, oh, we fell in love because we had a dance. That was it. There's no, be like, Frozen did better than this.
Well, yeah, that was Disney.
Yeah, that was Disney. And be like,
I would hope they did better.
Really? I mean, like they're like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But oh my, rough.
He's about to bark.
Rough.
He's about to bark.
Yeah, he's feeling very rough now. I can tell.
Yeah, exactly. I need Mountain Dew and gummy stat.
I didn't bring
Thanks,
any.
Ashley. That's my lovely bride, fiancés. Yes, so that is my number 2. The relationship in this movie is stupid beyond belief.
You're saying it's crap?
It's crapzilla.
Crapzilla. We don't like him.
He's very stinky.
Barely.
Even Hedera's like, you smell bad, dude.
Yeah. Hedera is already disengaged from the rest of his body and has flown off.
That is my number 2.
Okay, my second dislike for this film is the sound mixing for this thing.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, I do edit this podcast, believe it or not. I am not an audiophile, so for those of you who are, I apologize for my poor sound editing. However, I could do better than these people did.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
The scene where we're finding out about the moonbeam magic, you can't hardly hear the stinking dolphin tell you this because the background music is so freaking loud, you can't hardly hear what's going on. You can just barely make out, we're talking moonbeam magic and cast the rain magic into it. That's how you can now talk to dolphins.
The moonbeam magic
Good night.
Why do you love us so bad in this movie?
And it's not the only part. There's like so many times where it's like, did y'all hear this when y'all were editing it? Did y'all know what was going on, or did you just kind of put this out there and prayed nobody would question you over it?
And then
then
there's castle right across
and
it.
then there's the logic of during the scene you were just complaining about. Yeah. There is a symphony of mice playing for them at the size that the instruments those mice were playing. You know what it would have sounded like? Nails on a freaking chalkboard. It would have scared away blackbirds.
I would rather listen to nails on a chalkboard.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not
because
kidding.
It would not have sounded even as good as it sounded in this movie. And it sounded trashy, to be honest. This was the worst MIDI soundtrack I've heard in a long time.
The mix in it's terrible.
Oh.
The levels are terrible.
Yes. This is just that's before you talk how bad the dub is. So
the dub.
Oh, the dub ain't great.
No, it's
but
not.
Is it just me, or does it feel like these characters will not shut up?
They will not shut up, and you can tell the actors voicing them really wish they would.
Yes.
Because they talk all the time. They talk really fast. They have to squeeze a bunch in all the time, and they have basically flat performances the entire time. Even when Eye Patch Man is trying to be maniacally evil,
like I said, when the dub for Leo the Lion was better,
that's bad.
That's saying something.
That is terrible.
For those of you who don't remember and haven't gone back and listened to it, that's the movie I said that I couldn't call it hot steaming garbage because that would be an insult to hot steaming garbage.
We don't talk
and
about
the dub
Leo,
for that movie was better than the dub for this one.
Oh yes, I'll be like extremely. Oh,
this is good. This is gonna go down as on your top 5 worst movies you've ever talked about on this podcast.
It's gonna get close. It's gonna get close
so far.
So, are we ready to talk about historical inaccuracies?
Jimmy, punch it! You're gonna have to edit it.
Grandmaster activated.
This movie sets upon a throne of lies.
Yes. Oh, okay. Look,
A throne of lies. This.
Unlike
oh my
the two
gosh!
of y'all,
The worst sin that this thing commits is it has the audacity to sanitize the story of the Titanic by saying everybody lived. There were
including the captain
1,500
of the
real
ship.
people who died on that freaking boat. There are people who are descendants of the people who died. I hope they never saw this movie, because if they did, they would burn it in an effigy.
What I would love to
So
know
how
is why
dare
the
you
people
do
who
that,
made
you
this movie didn't get
insensitive
sued?
sharks?
The sharks.
Why was
I did-
there not legal action taken against this movie? That's what I would like to know.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
And then I'm sorry. I know they're mice, but there is no way there were Brazilians on the freaking boat. It makes no sense. That's why I was like, where is this boat even starting? We started New York freaking City. And where are they even launching from? Why are there Brazilians? They're on the other side of the freaking ocean. Why are they in England?
I will say that the other Titanic movie did have 3 Speedy Gonzales character mice on it,
Yes.
And they had Mexicans.
but they explained that in a way that made sense because they had been on tour for a while.
The soccer player character is like, oh, I came over to England to learn more about soccer in 1912.
When did soccer come about?
It's a much older sport, but
It's old enough.
Yeah, it's
old
old
Okay,
enough.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'd be
Was
like,
this around the time that soccer went to the Latin American countries and got popularized
it was
over there?
before that.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know sports history.
Yeah. Soccer is one of the oldest games of time.
So what you're saying it was already over there. So why was this guy going over
I
to
have
learn
no
about
idea.
it?
Maybe
I
he wants to
don't-
join the European League. I don't know.
Because it was made in North freaking Korea and all they know are stereotypes.
Not kidding.
It's just
All right,
oh my gosh.
Here's a question.
The fact that they let it's the fact that they let everybody live. I can't understand. I don't care if the doctor's like, for once everybody lives. It's the freaking Titanic. You don't do this.
Let people live.
Like
Well,
this
you
would
let
be
people
like
live.
in 50 years, they make like 9/11, the legend goes on, and they have everybody magically not die.
Here's a question.
I would kill over.
You take up, even if you don't take into fact all the bad historical inaccuracies of, the actual sinking of the ship, all those whales and other things and a giant octopus show up in New York and nobody says anything about it.
How about the fact that it is explained that our not Disney princess, our Dollar Tree Disney princess, had to have a combination of tears and magic moonbeams to talk to animals, but then the other animals start talking to people with no explanation, and nobody ever at any point thinks, well, this is weird. How could I talk to a mouse? Oh, hello, dog friend. How can you talk to me now suddenly? No one thinks about these things.
Oh, they explained it to us.
Yep,
They said
barely.
that if his soul and hers were in sync, then he would then
Able
also
to
gain
talk
the
to
ability
the-
to talk to
Oh, wait,
animals.
what? There was an
That's-
explanation?
How does he know that?
But that doesn't explain everybody else at the end of the freaking movie. Why
And
is no one
everybody's
freaking
like,
out?
yeah,
There is an octopus kaiju
In New York City.
in New York City at the Brooklyn Bridge who magically somehow didn't die, even though it would be able to crush him anyway. 'Cause, like, he had enough of him under the ship to do that. Also, why would the ship crush him? Because if you know anything about the history of that freaking boat, that boat is really far down. And if the water pressure would have killed him first. Also, he's an octopus. He doesn't have a skeleton. Unless his magic octopus muscles are somehow saving him.
I don't know because I'm getting an aneurysm. You're so much stupidity
Oh, you're not kidding.
in this film. I want to put that out there because the best thing that Titanic, the legend goes on, actually did was it took the stuff that is happening in this movie and made it logically make sense.
Yes, agreed.
I mean, it had magic talking animals and somehow the humans did it, but they went under Disney rules where it's like, of course Cinderella can speak to mice.
Of course.
Also, like I said, gangster sharks.
Yes,
Yes, gangster sharks. You wanna know
Gangster
what's more
sharks.
confusing? I watched Nostalgia Critics a review of the sequel to this film. Connors, our main hero, who's also the grandpa at the end of this, he's stuck in Atlantis and not allowed to go back. So how's he telling the story?
That's the sequel, man. Stay focused on this
I'm
pile,
saying there was no
on this
thought put
pile
into
of
this film.
kaiju octopus doo-doo. All right, that's what we're talking about here.
Oh my god.
Focus. All right. I just would like to. Could someone please explain to me how the plan is supposed to work? Because apparently the evil stepmother, because of course there's an evil stepmother again, Dollar Tree Disney princess, and Eye Patch Man are conspiring to do nefarious things, and they like, you know what we should do to make sure I get the whaling contract? Let's sink this wench.
I think
and then Jeffries, the dumbest butler ever, decides, oh, he wants to take the ship. I'm going to use my shark whistle to talk to the sharks because I talk to sharks now. And I'm going to get them to sink the boat. How are they supposed to sink the boat? Oh, we'll manipulate the giant octopus to do it. Because he's a child. Yeah, we get it. And then they're throwing the iceberg. And it's just...
the logic, at least on the human side of things.
And then they don't even care. They don't even care. They're just like, hey, let's go the simple route. Get a gun and make him sign the papers. We don't have to sink the ship, but we're going to sink the ship.
The logic, I think, first off, I don't know why they need to sink the ship. Because that's the stupidest part of this whole thing. Why do they need to sink the ship? You can still have the ship sink, just not be because
octopus kaiju,
whatever the whaling thing is. What? There's a question. Why are whales so much in this thing? This is the worst anti-whaling.
Why is the moral of the story save the whales?
In it.
There's killer whales.
Star Trek.
No. You keep forgetting. You keep forgetting.
Better anti-whaling film.
You get in Star Trek 4, yes. You keep forgetting. The whales are like the are to this movie what the Eagles are to Lord of the Rings. They show up at the end and save everybody when they could have showed up and solved the problem before any of this got like it is. And they say there's plenty of lifeboats for everybody, even though they say later, oh no, the octopus saved everybody.
Oh
make up your freaking mind.
Hang on. Before you do that, I need to point this out. They get him, the father, to the lifeboat because there's enough lifeboats. We don't care about women and children first. But they get him on there, and they don't get on it too.
That makes
Within the logic of this, they should be getting on that stupid boat. That's the lifeboat instead of walking to the bow of the ship to talk to the giant octopus and then jump from a 30-story building.
Well, you know what else? You know what?
Water.
In the actual history, they let the rich passengers get on first. Dang it!
Exactly.
I know.
Oh my gosh!
But apparently, this is Titanic, the progressive version, and now we gotta let everybody get on, regardless of ethnicity or their economic status. Even though we at least pay attention to how all the poor people are in the bottom, the lower decks of the boat. We'll pay attention to that for one scene, but then we're gonna completely ignore it later.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that North Korea is woke?
I think I am, Bike because it's a Kim Jong-il production.
Oh my God.
1999, Kim Jong-il.
Oh, me, oh, my Miss Molly.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, can I go, please?
This is
go.
they use this movie to torture all the prisoners they put in their gulags. I'm telling you, that's what they did. That's why they made this movie. They talked the Italians into making this movie so they could torture prisoners.
Joke's on you. I've seen this movie 5 times. I'm invincible.
You're a loony. Anyway, Jacob, what do you got?
Oh my gosh. So watching this film there again, I have been a huge Titanic fan my entire life. I have probably watched every documentary.
Oh,
read most
yeah,
of the book.
I should mention that when I was a wee lad, I was obsessed with the historical event of the Titanic sinking for a hot minute. I read everything.
I'm the odd one out as I didn't pay attention to any of that.
I still am.
Except I wanted to see the movie and I wasn't allowed. Now I understand for obvious reasons. Paint me like one of your French sharks.
No, French mice.
French mice.
So the scene that drove me nuts is where they're like, oh, we got something from the telegraph. Oh, let's cut these wires. I'm like, those are the Marconi wires. Don't cut the Marconi wires. I was like, oh my gosh, what are you, crazy? Because those guys who were in that Marconi machine are literally saving lives, and you're cutting the lines for this stupid line. Like, oh my gosh, and do not get me started on the freaking. Let me breathe.
Breathe.
Let me breathe. Oh my gosh.
Breathe, or the dog will come out.
The lifeboats.
What?
Thanks, this man. Oh my gosh. So historically,
is it a full
Dave
moon?
May-
I'm afraid he's gonna go werewolf on us.
No, the full moon was last week.
Yes. So here's the problem historically. So the Board of Trade back in 1910 decided that all luxury liners needed this many amount of boats. Okay. Then J. Bruce Ismay, the owner of White Star, who owned Titanic and all of its ships, decided that the Titanic only needed 19 lifeboats when the boat itself could hold over 2,000 people. So to say this blasphemy that there were plenty of lifeboats to save everybody in this boat is the biggest lie on the planet. It's like, oh my gosh, you are not kidding. This is like, it's me. It drove me nuts. I'm like, what in the world are you talking about?
There are
Oh my
sufficient
word.
lifeboats on boats now because of the Titanic.
Yeah, exactly. Because they were there again, 1910, 1905. The British Board of Trade said, okay, you can have this many lifeboats. And you know what Bruce Ismay said? Oh, we can cut that down. No problem, because we got to put more stuff on for first class. And here's another thing about first class. Here's another thing. So
we set him off.
Yeah, you set me off. The dog has come loose, and you let the historian out.
Master activated.
Ooh, a double.
So historically, we are talking 1910 civilization, 1910 culture, European culture. So the idea that our main love interest guy, who is apparently Italian, or not Italian, he's Spanish and he's Gypsy, and he's
a Hispanic Romani.
He's a Hispanic Romani. Okay. He's like, oh, he just walks on that boat. Wouldn't happen historically. Would never
I feel like
happen.
there's an applicable Princess Bride line about Spaniards there someplace.
So you have this character. He's supposed to be in the first class. That wouldn't happen historically. It would never happen, because you had to be rich. You had to be rich European to be in first class. Now, granted,
I don't think he was in first class.
He wasn't. He was in the lower deck. He complains like they should ban smoking.
There was my because it sounded like he was actually on first class.
No,
that's now okay.
No,
granted,
he got to go to the ballroom. If I remember
which is
correctly.
completely inaccurate.
But at least he can dance.
Yeah, at least he can dance, because there again, only first class passengers were allowed in the ballroom. Be like, everybody else had their own separate places to eat. It was all about segregation when it came to class. So be like, these characters would never interact with each other historically. And the scene where our two main loves meet on the top promenade deck, that would never happen. Historically, it would never, ever happen. And there again, I understand, be like, oh, but it's true love. Be like, this is 1910 civilization, people. This is the 20th century, the dawn of the 20th century, not the 21st century. So to put a character who is in third class to someone who is in first class, they would most likely never meet.
Be like, you have this issue with the Cameron movie?
Huh?
He hasn't watched the Cameron movie.
I haven't seen the Cameron movie.
You haven't seen the Cameron movie.
Granted, the way
he probably will.
I probably will at some point. I need to.
No, I mean, you probably will have a problem with James Cameron movie.
Because that's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Just better actors.
But at the same time, be like, it's more Rose goes into the third deck. Be like, they sneak each other into it. This one, it's just openly blatant. And I'm like, that wouldn't happen historically.
Yeah. And we won't get into how that ship was designed to sink.
Yeah.
So it did have enough lifeboats, and it was designed to sink. This whole thing was doomed from the get-go.
Yeah. They were also saying that
they were one fender bender away from dying. That's really
well, I mean, its sister ships did also sink also.
The Lusitania?
No, the Britannia.
Yeah, Britannia.
No, yeah, I was gonna say the Lusitania was the ship that got sank that got the US into World War One.
Yeah, that was entirely different time.
Yeah, that was
that got torpedoed by a U-boat, sir.
Yeah.
There were three. The Titanic had two sister ships. The other one was used as a hospital ship during, I think, World War One, and the third one never launched.
No, it launched.
Well, it didn't. I don't know anything about it because in my mind it's like the other two were so cursed that it's like, let's not launch.
No. They all launched. Because believe me, White Star wanted to get its money. Be like, Titanic sank. I think it was Lusitania who sank.
No, Lusitania is not in the same class.
That's right. Never mind. But I always get the names of these boats confused. But be like, historically, all three boats launched, and I think at least one didn't get sunk. Be like, the
Titanic.
Olympic.
The Titanic was the second, and the Britannic.
The Britannic.
The Britannic did not is one that sank during wartime.
Yes. Okay, that's right. Because the Olympic was
the Olympic actually lasted until 1935.
Yeah, 1935 when they scrapped her. So, it's like, wow, just this movie, I'll be like Drew said, almost gave me an aneurysm. It was so disrespectful towards the historical tragedy of the Titanic. Now, granted, historically, the Titanic isn't the worst maritime disaster when it comes to the loss of human life. That was it was actually like a Chicago steamer.
Yeah. There's a song. Edmund Fitzgerald.
I think
Sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, it's Fitzgerald. They're like, it had almost over 2,000, just under 2,000 people on it, and it killed like half of them.
I think that's correct
because it just tipped over. It had too many people on it.
Okay,
the buoyancy was bad.
All right, fun fact: the Britannic, that was the hospital ship.
Yes, Britannic was.
Fun fact: when it sank, only 30 people died.
Yes,
because everybody else got onto the lifeboats. And it sank because it hit a mine.
It did hit a mine.
It hit a mine, not an iceberg. It hit a mine. And it had enough lifeboats for most people.
Which brought America into World War One.
No, that was the Lusitania.
Wilson!
Okay, I just looked it up. You're talking about actually the Doña Paz ferry in the Philippines in December 20th, 1987 that had 4,400 deaths.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, it's the deadliest civilian maritime disaster in the history of the world, which took place December 20th. Tragic event involved a passenger ferry from the Philippines, which collided with an oil tanker, the MT Vector, in the Tablas Strait, about 180 kilometers south of Manila.
Okay, I was wrong. Which happens. But like we were talking about one of the worst historical tragedies of the 20th century here. And you literally just wipe it away with the fact to be like, you take Captain Smith off the bridge as the boat is sinking.
And the worst part
Saved by
was they
tentacles.
were
Yes.
still trying to do the "I'm going down with my ship"
Yes.
shtick, and then they rob him of it.
They robbed it of
Yes.
its entire. And the worst part, because obviously the Titanic was discovered in 1989, 88, 89.
Which is why the sequel is crap, because they're trying to find it in 1915.
Yeah.
World
Yeah,
War One was going on
because
by
they
then,
were trying to
people.
find-
Europe had other
they couldn't find it
problems.
because it was being fixed up by the Atlanteans.
But what was it? Robert Baller? I'm gonna butcher the name, but like he discovered it because they were on a top secret mission to find missing submarines. And so be like, because for years, decades, they said be like, oh, because the ship didn't break apart. Be like, it went down in one piece.
Okay.
Which is interesting because there is a Titanic movie from the 50s where that's what happened. They didn't
Remember the
realize
Titanic.
until later that it broke in half.
Yes.
Okay. I just looked it up. The Titanic wasn't even the worst maritime disaster when it happened. In 1822, the Texing in the South China Sea sank with a loss of 1,600 people.
Oh, okay.
And then the Sultana in the Mississippi River sank in 1865 with 1,800 people.
And what you were talking about, the Edmund Fitzgerald, that's
not even on the list. That's a different one, and I realized that was wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say that was
people.
Lake Superior, and it was
Lake Superior,
freighter,
and they still ring the 30 bells for the people who died on that every year.
Yeah,
I had the name wrong. He said it. I made wrong connections.
I'd be like, I obviously because like when you're exciting, you just say the wrong word.
Yes.
So
all I know is Doctor Who saved a space Titanic from crashing into where the Queen of England was living at the time.
But
and hilariously, the Asylum made a movie called Titanic 2, which makes you think it's a mockbuster sequel to the James Cameron movie.
Well, I mean,
10 years after the fact.
a-
No, it's actually a second Titanic that also sinks because no one realizes you never name a ship Titanic.
Douglas Adams wrote a text adventure game called Titanic 2 also.
I heard about this one.
So yeah.
Oh my, it's like the insensibility of this movie to all the tragic souls that were lost on the Titanic on that day.
And they couldn't even be bothered to actually show it. It just has to be some throwaway lines.
Yeah,
here and there. That's the worst part. And they give the credit to the giant over-muscled Octochild for doing it.
Yeah. And like they show that the Titanic sank in one piece. And here's the
no, it broke. No, it broke.
It broke.
It did break.
It did break.
But the over-muscled Octochild kept it together.
Yeah. So here's the historical ironic sadness of this. So during the inquiry, the English inquiry and then the American inquiry about it. So they would primarily only talk to staff that survived and first-class passengers. So the majority of them said that the ship itself sank in one piece. Now, if you talk to second-class and third-class passengers, which they were less than third-class passengers because they were allowed to be on the promenade deck, they weren't allowed to.
So they weren't even allowed up to the lifeboats until all the first-class passengers were on lifeboats.
Yeah, because most of the people who drowned were third-class people, still in the ship. Now, mind you, be like, so that historical piece of information was told over and over again for decades that this ship sank in one piece, and because the Board of Trade, the maritime organization, could not be bothered to say one of their ships could break in half, because it was too embarrassing to say one of our ships would break until the late 80s. And then they finally started realizing, like, oh, well, all these people that actually saw this thing break were right.
Well, they actually had pictures of it then. So, I mean, they couldn't get away with saying it could.
Yeah, exactly. And they were conspiracies for years after that. They're like, oh, no, these are fake. These are fake. These are fake. And then you would see like James Cameron would go down there and you'd see the ship broken up.
Yeah. I was going to say,
the saddest thing in the planet.
I think the entire concept of trying to do some sort of weird, whimsical pseudo Disney fairy tale on the Titanic is probably a bad idea from the get-go.
I think we all are in agreement.
Someone should have
there.
said no to that pitch. Or at the very least said, if you're going to do it, put it on a different ship, please.
Yeah. So I hate to break this up, but we are going to have to move on because we have stayed on this topic a little longer than anticipated. Nate, what are you going to rate this film?
Is 0 allowed?
0 is allowed.
0 is allowed.
0, 0, 0. This is one of the worst things I have had to podcast about, and I have suffered through Gamera Super Monster.
Oh, I haven't even got to that movie yet.
I have suffered through Gamera Super Monster, sir. This is one of the worst things I've had to podcast about. I have suffered through Turbo.
Turbo is a better movie than this.
Agree.
Turbo is a better movie than this. Are you happy, Michael? I said it.
Jacob, what are you rating this film?
This is our first year of Bad Movie Month.
This is our first sequel.
Our first year of doing Bad Movie Month. Obviously, we did Titanic: The Legend Goes On. Titanic: The Legend Goes On was a much better film.
Yes.
This was insufferable to watch. It was, to the historical part of me that said this is blasphemy historically, to writing, to story, to everything. This is a 0 out of 0. Like, this is a piece of garbage.
Blame
movie.
North Korea.
Blame North Korea.
It's
me. But it's just like, oh my gosh, this movie made me cringe. When you have to pause the movie at a minute 20:27, I timed it. Be like, this is going to be a train wreck. And it was.
I told you guys, I'm like,
here and there, but oh my word!
I paused the movie and sent you guys a picture of my notes that I had so far. And I had like 1 like and about 10 dislikes, and I said, I'm only 7 minutes in, guys.
So
it was bad. So 0, 0.
So I'm at an impasse here.
Oh.
I can't rate it straight 0 because that's what I gave Leo the Lion. And I have to admit this film is better than Leo the Lion. But I can't give it a 1 either because it's definitely not that good.
Agreed.
So I guess I have to give this a 0.5.
So what you're saying is the Cellcast. The Cellcast Cross MIFV rates The Legend of Titanic a disputed
0.1. 0.125.
That's a lot of binary.
Oh my gosh. This was terrible.
Because that's the thing, is I can't rate it.
Hey, Jimmy, what do you give this? Wow, I didn't realize we could get into the negatives. I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes sense, right? You know, if Godzilla can have a -1, why can't this have a -1?
The crazy thing is there is a sequel to this film, and I am worried.
Just wait till next year.
You're gonna bring me back, aren't you? Just for that dang octopus.
My understanding is he's barely even in the movie, despite the fact in the original Italian version it's named after him.
Yeah,
because in that one he's called Tentacolino, and that's the name of the movie.
Yeah. Well, and hilariously, there is a 1977 kaiju movie about a giant octopus called Tentacles, which I can find that on Tubi, but I can't find the sequel on Tubi.
I saw it on there because it's under
a different title.
It's under a different title. And I did see it in there because it literally says, "Do you want to watch In Search of Titanic after this?" And I said, "No, not for a while."
no,
thank you. Tubi, I know you're free, but you have to pay me to watch that. You need to pay a monthly subscription to me.
Exactly. So it's intermission time.
Yes.
I'm gonna play somebody to I'm sure would love to be connected to this film as an advertisement. In fact, I think I know which one I want to play since we mentioned that North Korea is now woke. After that, we'll be talking about what we've been watching, some news, and then we'll get into X-Men.
Daylit.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out Stunning and Brave, where each week hosts Chris Cowan of the Babylon Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They will make you laugh. That's right.
You have no choice.
Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com.
And not this person because I haven't edited them out
to
yet.
Get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast, plus reviews and special art from Jacob. Please donate to us on Patreon.
It's not that I'm lazy. It's just all of my work files for this are in Audacity, and I'm in Reaper now. And after my issues with the computer, I didn't install Audacity again, so I have to remake everything.
Oh, well, and my apologies for the hiccup you had with Daylit. Jimmy was apparently trying to upgrade her software or something.
I have this problem with Daylit like weekly. I just usually edit it out. Or Adila edits it out because she's the one who actually does some of the editing on this sometimes.
Jimmy, why can't you edit episodes for me? Not in your contract, of course. So I guess editing is a part of my contractual obligations, isn't it?
I get.
I'm negotiating that change next time.
Anyway, I got some questions for you guys.
Oh boy.
What have you been watching?
Nathan.
Yes.
What have you been watching?
Would you believe Tokusatsu?
Maybe.
No. Right?
Couldn't
be
Tokusatsu.
Yeah, I just got Kamen Rider Black RX in the mail, so I've been slowly going through that. The sequel to Kamen Rider Black. Thank you, Discotech of Discotech.
With 100% less Furbus.
Yes, now 100% Furbus free.
Which it never occurred to me how much he looks like Furby.
It's frightening, to be honest. Anyway, like I said, it's a sequel. I will tell you right now, Discotech does some of the best work with Japanese media that you will ever see, because their releases for Black especially and Black RX, I think, are now the gold standard for Tokusatsu releases. Top 5 best English language releases of Tokusatsu. Now, as I love Kamen Rider Black, as for Black RX, I'm about 22 or so episodes in. I'm not liking it as much as Black. It's a little it's the Bandai mandates are in full force with this one. It's a little too toyetic. It's got a bit of an identity crisis because the villains look like they belong in Sentai, and the writers' alt forms look like metal heroes. The whole show just does not feel as much like Kamen Rider to me as Black did. And the tone's completely different. It's the same characters. Well, the same main character, but it's weird because Black ends on a very bittersweet note. And then as soon as this show starts, everything's a lot happier. I'm like, what in the heck happened between the shows?
They had to sell to America, man.
Yeah, I guess. The other Tokusatsu show I've been watching a lot lately is Ultraman Gaia, which is from, I want to say 98. I think it's right. Yeah, about 1998. It's the last of the Tiga Dyna Gaia trilogy. They really only group them together because they had one movie where they all cross over, and it technically wasn't even the real characters except for one of them. It's weird. It's an alternate universe thing. I won't take the time to explain it. I was not expecting that I would like Gaia all that much. And the first 10 episodes or so have been remarkably good. I was not expecting them to be bangers like they are. Now, I don't like the theme song. The theme song is okay at best, but the show itself has been remarkably good. And I need to mention it here because we're going to do another crossover, fellas, very soon. I've been watching Gamera Rebirth. I'm now 4 of 6 episodes in. Be warned, they're full-length episodes. They're 45 minutes instead of 20.
It's fairly long for an anime.
Yeah, I've never seen an anime unless it was an OVA that had full-length episodes like that.
If they cut it at the 20-minute mark, which would be about how long a regular anime episode is, that would be a 12-episode anime. So
yeah, but it's clearly set up to be 6 episodes. Because the way they're setting it up is that Gamera is fighting new redesigns of all but one of his Showa opponents. They left Barugan out, but they put all the rest of them in there. So I'm curious to see how it ends.
I don't remember which ones of those I've actually seen, but anyway,
Barugan has the ice powers and the long tongue.
He was the second one. He was the first one.
He was in the second movie.
Okay, yeah, okay. I know.
And Death Rainbow.
Yes, Death Rainbow. Can't forget the Death Rainbow.
Can't forget Death Rainbow, the best metal band ever.
Jacob?
But all the rest of them are showing up in the show. My favorite so far has been Giron, because Giron is nuts. He's the one who looks like a giant knife.
Right. I just saw his with Flabella and Barbarella.
Yeah, Barbella.
Barbarella
is a different weirdo space queen.
Yes. No, I remember I'll get into this a little bit more when I get to what I've been watching. But I saw those two girls and thought, I think they ought to make a Sentai team based off that kind of spandex.
My pseudo sister fought them once. That was interesting.
Yes.
That was interesting. And speaking of that, I have been slowly making my way through Sailor Moon season 3. Mad science in it.
Right, the 90s Sailor Moon or Crystal?
90s. Yeah.
Okay, so you're up to Sailor Moon S.
With Crystal.
Do what?
I would have said Crystal if it was Crystal.
Okay. Well, I mean, you didn't say it was Sailor Moon S. That's what confused me. So.
Yeah, I don't remember all those funny, goofy titles. Who do I look like, Bex?
Hey, I don't remember. I don't look like Bex either, but I know it goes Sailor Moon R, Sailor Moon S, Sailor Moon Super S, and Sailor Moon Stars.
Well, aren't you?
Because I'm a nerd.
Fan? I was gonna say, oh, aren't you a hardcore fan? Give me your man card. Now.
I am not a hardcore fan, though I will admit that's one of the few fandoms I've actually read fan fiction from. So.
I'm revoking your man card now.
Not a lot. Jacob?
Oh, come on. It was Godzilla fan fiction.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
What was it? Godzilla and Mothra getting it on?
We're not talking about Mothzilla, sir. We don't talk about Mothzilla.
Jacob, before this goes any farther down the memory hole, why don't you tell us what you've been watching? Once you can breathe again.
Yes. Ooh, brother. You're not kidding.
Bobo, this is what happens during Bad Movie Month.
Things get a bit silly. Okay, so this past weekend, Drew, myself, and a couple of others went on a singles retreat towards the Dallas area. And obviously, I proposed to my girlfriend. She said yes. So now I'm engaged.
Oh, so now you can't go to the group anymore.
The two have not been kicked out yet.
Yet?
I do not have control over this.
I was going to say, there's a married couple in our group.
I'm aware. They're also, he's 80.
Yeah, that is true. It's true. He is 80.
Are you trying to say one of them is going to end up single very soon?
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
My luck, someone from the group is listening tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't mean Ashley.
Yeah, mum's the word. But anyways, so yeah, we went, had a great time. I proposed. She said yes. Thank you. And praise the Lord for that. That was awesome. Now we're waiting for like 8-9 months to get married. So so we like, so while we're at this retreat, we're playing card games and the whole bit, and someone be like, hey, I want to watch a movie. And they I don't know what program they were
they were on Prime.
They were on Prime.
I was at the right angle to watch them try and get into it after they fought Netflix for a couple minutes.
Oh, okay. So they were on Prime Video, and they just came across this movie. I was just like, what in the world is this? It was The Long Walk Home from 1990. And I've never heard this film. It's a movie starring Whoopi Goldberg back in her early days. And I was like, what in the world? So it's based in the 1950s Mississippi bus boycotts.
I think it was Alabama.
One of those.
Because they were in Montgomery, I think.
Yeah, it was Montgomery. It was Montgomery bus boycotts. And it was, during the
after Rosa Parks.
Yeah, after Rosa Parks and the whole bit. And I was just like, wow, this is a really intriguing movie. But at the same time, it's pissing me off.
Which is why I had to quit watching it.
Yeah, because
it is in Alabama.
Yeah, okay, it is in Alabama. So I'll be like, I'm watching this movie, getting really intrigued, and it's like, wow, the way like some people treat each other is absolutely terrible. And like I'm very thankful to the Lord. I grew up in where I'm from, the era in which I grew up in. There again, racism is still the thing. But unless
you're a mouse.
Unless you're a mouse.
We never explain that because one of the mice falls in love with the girl for a minute.
Yes.
And makes the comments like, because the mouse is like, well, she's human. It's like, well, I'm not racist. That is a can of graboids I am not prepared to open.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if anybody got that reference, I'll be impressed.
Yes.
I might get you free tickets to the island. I'm just saying. Anyway, The Long Walk Home.
I want to say it was like Blasted Scroots. No, that's
Harry Potter.
That's Harry Potter. Yeah, Blastoids. That's what it is. Blastoids. From
Blastoids?
Blastoids is a Pokemon, sir.
Oh, never mind.
Graboids, which is what he said,
is
from Tremors.
Sorry, I'm getting franchise mixed up. My bad. Anyways, be like, what's The Long Walk Home?
You heard it here, folks. Here first, folks. Tremors is officially part of Harry Potter.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Under the desert sand.
Just walk without rhythm, otherwise they'll find you.
Actually, you just don't want to be on the ground at all.
Yeah, agreed. So anyways,
I was transitioning to Dune, but whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Dune.
I still haven't seen Dune Part 1 yet. I need to. But I thoroughly enjoyed The Long Walk Home. I would be like, if you want to watch something that's really good, go watch it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was thoroughly impressed with it. And so I'm doing a 200 movie challenge.
I don't know why I'm doing it too, but
so it's something my brother Jim started, and it's from this month until
this month next year.
So you have to watch. You're like, if you can watch 200 films. It's like, okay, that's only
about
4. I had 8. Huh?
It's about 4 a week,
roughly. Am
am
I going to get anywhere near close? No, but I'm going to watch some new movies.
So I guess you better find that book, 1001 movies to watch before you die.
Hey, I'm starting off with Gamera films, so
be like in my search of be like, that's okay, I gotta find something to watch. So I hopped on the Netflix, and lo and behold, they launched there was a new animated movie out there called The Monkey King. This was a fun little film. It's based off the Journey to the West, the legendary, I guess you would call epic. I guess you call
It's
that
a novel.
An epic.
It's definitely it's an epic.
Yeah, it's a
the
novel.
Monkey King.
Yeah.
And it's
One of the most important pieces of literature in Asia.
Yeah.
Well,
Yet apparently
East
you
Asia.
can't. Yet apparently you can't find a completely unabridged copy in English. At least I couldn't, because I'm actually reading through that book right now.
So, ever since you're reading it right now,
Yes.
so the point where the Monkey King, he is discovering his powers. He's discovering that he wants to be immortal. He wants to be a god. And
yes, basically the prologue.
yeah, the prologue. This is the prologue of Journey to the West.
This is before he tries to become emperor under the heavens or whatever it was called.
Be like, but I think because this movie is done very well, the animation is like okay, it's par animation. It's not like gonna blow your socks off. It's funny. It's got an amusing story. It's got a very, very average storytelling, but it's done very well. So yeah, Monkey King on Netflix. It'll be like,
So, at what point in the sequels do you think he'll go Super Saiyan?
He won't.
that would be hilarious. They're like, no, he doesn't become Son Goku.
Sorry, that's in the Monkey King Z.
He does have a extending pole, and he does at one point fly on a Nimbus.
I bring it up
because that part of Dragon Ball Z where it was announced was based on the Monkey King.
I gotta say, it's inspired. Dragon Ball is largely inspired by Journey to the West.
Yes.
See?
Also, Gamera makes a cameo.
Yes. No, it's not Gamera himself. It's Mini Gamera.
Mini Gamera.
Master Roshi the pervert rides on him.
That's right.
Because he can't ride Nimbus.
That's right.
Because he doesn't have a pure heart.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you think. But yeah, I watched Monkey King on Netflix. Be like, it's really good. Yes, I am fully aware that is an adaptation of. But I think it was a wonderful, very cute little movie. It's nothing to be like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch this again. It was very cool. I hope they do more of them. And the same vein of continuing the Journey to the West.
Yeah, because it hadn't journeyed to the West yet.
No, it hasn't. It's just
the monk's not even born yet.
No, he's not.
There have been a lot of adaptations of either Journey to the West or the Monkey King. Heck, which one was it? It was Forbidden Kingdom. Who was it? Was it Jet Li? I can't. It was Jet Li and Jackie Chan are in it. That was the big deal because it's like, oh my gosh, they're in the same movie together.
That was
one of them was the Monkey King. Which one of them was the Monkey King?
That was not the Forbidden Kingdom. I watched Forbidden Kingdom, but that's a fun one. But there was another one that Jet Li did, and both of them did, where it was based on that. I can't remember the name of it.
I'm pretty sure it's Forbidden Kingdom.
It's been a while since I've seen Forbidden Kingdom. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again.
Now I need to know.
I just know Forbidden Kingdom is one of the
Forbidden Kingdom, and the Monkey King was played by Jet Li.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I just remember Forbidden Kingdom is one of like 3 Japanese martial arts movies I've actually seen in a theater. So
actually, I think this was an American. No, it was a Chinese film.
Yeah,
no, wait,
Chinese,
no, that's
but it got shown.
Is that no? It okay. Oh, it was like I thought this was a Hollywood movie, but no, it wasn't. It was distributed by
Great Barrier. Is it the Great Barrier?
The Great Wall.
The Great Wall. The Great Wall it was partially funded by Hollywood, so that's why it got aired over here. Which that was basically Chinese Power Rangers.
Anyway, what have you been watching, Drew?
Oh, is it my turn?
I'm done. So go ahead.
Let's see. I have watched 2 Gamera films. I watched Virus. Is it Virus?
Gamera. Well, I've also heard it pronounced Virus.
The giant squid.
The giant squid from outer space. Hey, Jimmy, how do you say it? Really? That's one I haven't heard before.
Either way, I saw both the space ones.
So
Turtle
in space.
Yes, Turtle in space.
Turtle in space.
I got to see Jimmy in as a little kid, or someone playing Jimmy as a little kid.
And I have met the gentleman who played Jimmy in that movie, Carl Craig.
Yeah. It did my heart good as a former Boy Scout, seeing the Boy Scouts help saving the world with Gamera.
How do you think Jimmy got his job at NASA?
I'd
Just
be
put
the
that
only-
on
I'm
his
sure
resume.
Jimmy's an Eagle
When I
Scout.
was 10 years old, I helped Gamera save the world from aliens.
Do you stop at Eagle Scout when you go that far, or do you go up to Turtle?
That is a very good question.
So does he mean do they study under Master Roshi then?
No.
No. In fact, as Jimmy has said repeatedly, he was trained by astronaut Glenn, not Master Roshi.
So
Yes.
someone he's related to in some bastard.
No, Let's Glenn is a first name.
Ah,
I'm related to someone with Glenn as a last name,
well, never mind then.
being John Glenn. But anyway, and
anyway.
he wouldn't claim my side of the family anyway.
Yeah. Either way.
But yeah, I watched
So two
that.
Gameras.
I watched because Ahsoka's airing now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, while I'm watching Ahsoka, I am also trying to finish Star Wars Rebels because I never finished it. So I finished season 1 of Rebels this week, and then I
No ways
also
to go.
and that's only 4 seasons total, so it's not that bad. But then I also realized, oh, it's the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who this year, and David Tennant's coming back in November. I may want to catch up because I'm still in the 13th Doctor's 2nd season. And I've got to get to the episode everybody hates.
I quit after Capaldi.
I'll put it this way. I can't remember the actress's name, but she actually is not bad. The problem is not
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, we're going.
It's not the problem is not Jodie Whittaker. It's just the writing in general. It was starting to fall at the end of Peter Capaldi.
It was.
And it's kind of low here. I'm kind of hoping Russell T Davies will turn it around. We will see. But
and he's gonna need a mighty powerful retcon to do that.
He brought David Tennant back, and he's bringing Donna Noble back. Already, there's
I'm cool with bringing. I'm cool with bringing
Donna
back
Noble
Donna.
coming back means she's going to die.
I'm cool with bringing
Spoiler
Donna
alert
back.
for the end of Doctor Who season 4.
I'm cool with bringing Donna back because I love Donna.
Donna was my favorite companion.
Yeah, I love Donna. David Tennant is a desperate gimmick.
Oh yeah.
Desperate gimmick. That might be a hot take for a lot of people, but I stand by it. Desperate gimmick. And I'm not falling for it.
It will get people to watch, especially since it's going to be on Disney Plus going forward.
True,
which is still weird.
It is.
It
weird.
is.
So,
Uh,
so be like that's everything. Yeah, I can't talk. Go ahead.
Trying to think, what else did I watch? Oh, it being Star Trek Day, they released the first of the very short treks on YouTube, which was called To Skin a Cat. It's okay. It's not funny. It's trying to be funny.
I've watched all the short treks.
No, this is very short treks. It started today. It's only based on the animated stuff, and this was it's not good. I'm not looking forward to
I was
the
going to
rest.
say, I watched the other short treks, and one is flat out one of the worst things I've ever seen in Star Trek, and one was actually entertaining, and I don't remember.
I mean,
the other
Ephraim
ones
and
very
Dodd
well.
is the best one to come out of all those. So, and it's proof Lower Decks worked.
Yeah, I haven't seen those. I'm talking about like when they first started doing it.
Yeah, that first 4 are kind of weird. They
I
still
like the
haven't-
one. I like the one with Una and Spock when they're stuck in the turbo lift. That one was
Yeah.
good.
And
the one with the tribbles can.
I like
that one
the
can
one
burn.
with,
I did not like that one.
With oh shoot, what's his name that's playing Mud? The one with Mud in it was funny too. It's like that was proof that's like, oh, you can do something funny with Harry Mudd now. And it work with this guy. I can't think of his name. He's Dwight on The Office.
I know. I'm trying to find his name really quick. Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson. He does a good Mudd, Harry Mudd. But yeah, most of those are kind of bleh. But anyway.
So what I wanted to bring up, because he mentioned Ahsoka. So last week I mentioned this, but I thought I would bring it up again because that's funny. To me, it's funny. So I watched when Obi-Wan came out. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't like Obi-Wan, but I enjoyed.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
I
Obi-Wan.
didn't like it.
So I saw, oh, they're doing Ahsoka. I know who Ahsoka is.
He's not watched all of Rebels either.
No, I was getting there.
He doesn't know what happened to Ezra.
I have no idea what happened to Ezra. I have no idea. I knew there was Admiral Thrawn. Am I saying that right?
Grand Admiral
Thrawn.
Yeah. Because that's easier to say than his full name.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to try that.
So I'm watching the first episode of Ahsoka. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And it's like, oh, okay, this character shows up. Oh, yeah, the Mandalorian chick. I was like, oh, yeah, she's here. Cool. And I was like, okay, what is this tension? What's going on? And then it's just like this. And it's like, I am so totally lost. What is going on?
Because Ahsoka is Rebels season 5.
I know. And then it was like, oh, crap, I'm going to go back and watch Rebels.
Yeah, that is
a little bit of Rebels.
Yeah, that is the problem that Star Wars has gotten itself into now. I think there's been a level of that to a certain extent with all of the expanded universe stuff, but it's gotten even worse now. And it's the same problem the MCU is dealing with. It's to the point where there's just too much homework before you can just watch something.
I am just glad this is not Grogu and Friends season 5
yet.
Jimmy and I have had a lot of long talks about The Mandalorian and how we're kind of like, really, did they have to bring the cute one back? I get it. He's highly marketable, but really.
I mean, they kind of destroyed what they were doing with Book of Boba Fett, which wasn't much in general, just to bring him in and make it for season 3 of Grogu and Friends. Anyway,
we're not running a Star Wars podcast.
Thank goodness.
We're not. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh crap, I need more information because I was like totally lost. What's going on? So yeah, I need to go watch Rebels and like everything else because I haven't even watched everything else in Clone Wars yet. So
you do need to finish Clone Wars because the end of Clone Wars is amazing.
Yeah.
Clone Wars is actually pretty good.
And then Bad Batch, which I'm looking forward to getting back to Bad Batch once I finish Rebels.
Well, and I should mention this. You guys sponsored a couple episodes of Clone Wars for the Film Vault.
Yes.
The Zillow Beast.
I'm looking forward to doing those whenever we get around to it.
We'll get to it.
We'll get there when we get there. We got anything?
And the Zillow Beast came back. Did you guys know?
I haven't watched that episode yet.
I haven't either.
Bad Batch.
Yeah. Now, Bad Batch is basically Clone Wars seasons 8 and 9 at this point.
I haven't, like I said, I hadn't got that far yet. Anyway. We got anything before we hit the news?
No.
So, Jacob, what do we have in the news? The
Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Dealit. And getting into the bit of news. So, for all of our Hayao Miyazaki fans, for Mr. Miyazaki's final film in air quotes,
he finally admitted it's not his final film again.
Jeez, dude, retire already.
This guy
is going to die at the animation board.
This guy is the Brett Favre of anime, or is he the
Sting
of anime? I don't know.
So G-Kids announced that they will be bringing A Boy and the Heron.
Yes.
Not me, because my last name's Heron.
I don't know if you ended up in a Miyazaki film.
That would be pretty epic. Most likely I was just turned into a dog, and that'd be funny.
I thought you already turned into a dog once.
I have.
Deedlet said don't give her any ideas.
Yeah, no. Woof. The highly anticipated new film from legendary Academy Award winning Hayao Miyazaki to cinemas nationwide here in the United States on December 8th. All right, so a movie we did a couple of years ago. Remember the movie Chicken Run?
Yes.
Okay.
We did do Chicken Run.
We did Chicken Run. The sequel's coming out. Finally.
It's getting a sequel?
It's getting a sequel.
It's getting a sequel.
Actually, I think I remember hearing about that once, and then I forgot.
It's coming out like what, October?
No, December.
Oh, December. I thought it was I read October.
Yeah. The
Dawn of the Nugget.
Yeah, Dawn of the Nugget.
This is still
Yeah,
have was it Mel Gibson?
Mrs. Tweedy is working for McDonald's now.
Anyway, is Mel Gibson still in it?
No.
Is it Mel Gibson? Was it Mel Gibson?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Mel Gibson, but he's not in it.
He's not in this one.
He's not. They only got him because of the connection to DreamWorks, which this is not connected to DreamWorks.
No, not anymore.
No. It's just Aardman.
Yeah, just Aardman through whoever they release through now. Well, straight to Netflix in this instance.
Oh,
so the headline opener is actually just so dumb it's funny. Feathering the nest for an arrival for Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget on Netflix, December 5th. The streamer today unveiled the official teaser trailer, key art, and freshly hatched catching announcements for its eagerly awaited Aardman sequel. So yes, we're getting a sequel on Netflix. So if you guys were like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna have more," it's coming to Netflix.
It's like what, 20 years, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's about as long as between Incredibles and Incredibles 2. So
yeah,
that was about 10 years. About 10? No, 15. It was like 15.
15.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay. So this one I want to ask both of you because I know we're all movie fans.
Yeah.
So far in the year of our Lord 2023, what are the top 5 animated movies so far in the nation worldwide?
Super Mario Brothers
box
movie.
Office? In terms of box office?
Yeah, box office.
Super Mario Brothers movie.
Well, okay. That's number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
Number 2.
I'm trying to remember what came out
this year.
Kind of a big one that like everyone was anticipated for.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse. That's probably number 2.
Yeah, that's probably number 2.
Okay, number 3.
I don't know. Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken.
It's on there.
What?
What else was animated?
Well, no, Elemental flopped.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. Good night. I can't think of what else came out this year.
Certain movie we were recently reacted to.
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
And what do you think the 5th movie is? You're close on all of them. What do you think the 5th one is?
The Teenage Kraken was on there.
Yes, it is on there.
Oh,
this is worse. This did worse than Teenage
Suzume.
No,
Suzume is probably not on this list.
No, Suzume is not on this list. So to round it up, you got most of them right.
There was an animated movie called Unicorn Wars out this year.
I don't see the one on this list. So
I'm just looking up a list of animated movies of 2023. I'm like, Unicorn Wars? What?
Never heard of that one.
It is described as Care Bears meets Apocalypse Now.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's gonna be a fun movie to watch. Kill them all with love. So obviously number 1 was the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Yeah.
Which earned $1.3 billion globally.
Oh yeah, it was printing money.
Yeah, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse earned $689.3 million. Number 3, be like you guys were floating around it, but it was number 3. It was Elemental.
Elemental, really?
I heard that
flopped.
Yeah, $469.7 million worldwide gross. TMNT Mutant Mayhem came in at 4th at $139.7 million currently. And number 5, I didn't even realize they had this movie, this based off an anime, Detective Conan, Black Iron Sub.
I didn't expect that on a list for American movies making money.
Well, it wasn't. It's more like
Worldwide?
Worldwide. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say. It was worldwide.
Then I am surprised Susan May is not on that list.
Yeah, that's kind of a shocker. And a list of movies that are currently coming out. I know apparently on December 21st, apparently there's a movie called Leo coming out. It's like, yeah, a movie we're definitely gonna have to review. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're not gonna watch it. Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie. We're not watching.
Yeah,
that.
that's
not happening. That's not happening. My Love Affair with Marriage. Okay, that doesn't sound like an animated movie. Or everybody's favorite movie that everybody's gonna love to go watch. Trolls Band Together. No. Oh my gosh, the second one was bad.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's
I
not
don't want
good.
to.
And it's literally the boy band get back together. Like, you're freaking kidding me. And it's so bad. Obviously, Wish is coming out November 22nd.
Okay, I would just like to say I found a full list of all the animated movies coming out this year, and one of them is called, and I quote, Girls und Panzer das Finale Part 4.
Yes, that's an anime movie based off an anime over there called Girls und Panzer.
Yeah,
it's actually a good anime.
That's pretty good.
I just think it's funny that it's Finale Part 4. It's like right up there with Attack on Titan.
4? That's insane.
That's not as bad as the video game known as Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Because it's the third Street Fighter.
Do not
3.
besmirch one of the best Street Fighter games ever.
Oh, you mean Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD?
I said one of the best.
Connection lost.
I said, I see, this is what you get for besmirching Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. I said one of the best.
Jiminy crickets on a pogo stick. Okay.
All right. Yeah, okay, we're back. Good. Oh my word. But
except I think Nate's still frozen.
Dang it. I can hear you guys.
Oh, I can hear you too. It's just your video is not doing anything.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. I said my piece about Street Fighter.
To move over my mouth. Thank you. All right, so and obviously December 22nd, Migration from Illumination Universal is coming out that day. So apparently it's about birds migrating. Fun.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's.
I think I saw the trailer for that one.
I think I did. It looks interesting because it's Illumination. They do everything safe. But yeah, that's all I have for news.
You know what's weird? He's frozen here.
Yeah.
But he's moving over here.
Exactly. That is weird.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to drop you. Not drop you, but I'm going to bring you back in. Nope. I don't get that.
Nope.
That's weird.
You're frozen.
I don't know why on the stream part you're frozen, but I can see you moving off to the side.
Yeah.
That's only a little confusing.
Got on the wrong side of it also. Now he's frozen.
Okay, let's just keep moving.
Yeah. He'll eventually thaw. He'll be fine. All right.
Oh, here's the highest grossing list.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our talk on X-Men, the animated series.
Well, before that, don't we have an interrogation?
Oh, yeah, we do have an interrogation. I forgot interrogation.
Yes. I was waiting for it. I was like, wait a minute.
Interrogation.
I just survived the Legend of Titanic. You can't hurt me.
Try.
It's like, so let's say hypothetically that you were zapped into the world of the Legend of the Titanic.
Let's not and say we did. That's got to be against the Geneva Convention.
Would you jump overboard or try to save the ship?
Shave the ship. I want to
save. Not buzz. Try to save the ship. Knowing what's going to happen in this movie.
You really are.
Am I friends with the gigantic, over-muscled Octochild.
Yes.
I'd save the
You were
ship.
the kaiju master.
I'd save the ship.
Okay.
Good night.
He said
He just said I'm friends with an octopus kaiju who's easily manipulated. All I have to do is offer him a Scooby snack and he's gonna fix the ship.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, oh boy, hey, let's do this, right? We're just having fun, right?
Hey,
no,
you threw ice at the ship. Hold it together. And then I will get one of my other kaiju friends who will weld the ship back together.
I just remembered this, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up now. When he went back under when his tentacle slipped, why did he get a big breath of air before he went back underwater?
He's a freaking octopus.
He should be able to breathe underwater.
Oh my gosh. So let's stop talking about this terrible movie. But so ever since you are the kaiju master.
Well, media master.
Media master.
Well, I'm not.
Well, whatever your
anymore.
current title is.
Well, no. I got demoted, guys. I got demoted. That title was made up. Anyway.
Okay. So if you were to, like, if you were to create an animated series that wasn't Monster Island or Skull Island, and no Annie whatsoever,
because she's banned from the island.
Yes, from the island permanently. It's like, no, you do not return. No.
Like, nobody likes you.
If you were to create the
we
ultimate...
don't talk about Annie.
Whoa.
Anyway, yes.
So if you were to create if you were to create an animated world with your favorite kaiju characters, and what kind of world would that be?
Actually, I don't know if I would go for a straight up world, but I can tell you what I would like to do. I would actually make an anthology series of animated. Well, I don't know if they would be films or it'd be a television series, but in my research, thanks to my friend John LeMay, I have learned about a lot of unmade kaiju projects, a lot of which I wished existed. So what I would like to do, because there's a podcast called Kaijusaurus that actually adapted several of these unmade ideas into audio dramas. I would love to realize some of these unmade kaiju films in animation, because I think that would be a really interesting way to go, be a relatively easy way to go to in order to get them made, as opposed to doing a full-fledged production with suits or anything like that. And especially since some of the ideas are so wild, you would probably need animation to do it. Like a space Godzilla. He said, you're not wrong.
No.
You're not wrong. But there's a lot of other ones that I would love to see realized. One of my favorite ones was I think it's Godzilla versus the Asuka Fortress. That's actually like Godzilla if he was in Terminator.
Really?
Yeah, because it's about an AI that's trying to take over the world, and it has this massive. Well, this is the Asuka Fortress, the titular Asuka Fortress. It just takes over this whole thing, and Godzilla has to fight it at the end. It was the only Heisei Godzilla concept. I don't know if it got as far as a script, but it was pitched by Shinichi Sekizawa, who did most of his work for Godzilla in the Showa era. This is the only time he submitted anything for the Heisei series. And it was toward the end of his life, and it just sounded like a really great idea. There was another one that I think is called, you gotta understand this is translated from Japanese, it's called Godzilla Suicide Strategy.
Okay.
That would have taken place
Godzilla Kamikaze.
Yeah, basically. That would have taken place in the 70s Showa era, and it actually would have played on continuity quite a bit, and it would have been about Godzilla fighting an invisible monster, and you're thinking, oh, that just sounds like a cheap idea because they don't have the money to make a suit. here's the thing. He fights this thing because you got to remember, this is superhero Godzilla. He fights the thing in a city, and the humans think he's turned on them. He's not the good guy anymore. So they start going after him instead of the invisible monster and Gigan, because Gigan was in this.
Of course, Gigan's there.
Because of course Gigan's in it. So they think he's a bad guy again, and I'm trying to remember the details here, but basically Godzilla ends up getting blinded at the end. So he has to fight two monsters, one of whom is invisible already, while blinded. So he's basically Zatoichi. And that just sounds like a really intriguing idea that I would have loved to have seen get fleshed out. So that's what I would do, an anthology series of unmade kaiju stories.
Okay. So I saw one on our chat where Babo chimes in, I want to see Godzilla versus Care Bears. And so that got me to thinking. So,
and I can't give you that, but I can get you a link to Godzilla versus Bambi.
God,
that exists.
That's hilarious. That
is a legit. That is a legit.
Yeah.
That is a legit film
made
in the, I believe it was the late 60s, early 70s. It's only a minute long, 70s. And it's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah. Bambi gets stomped by Godzilla.
The credits are longer than the film.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what if you were to choose from all the nerddom, the nerd spear of for like Marvel, DC, whatever, if they had to fight Godzilla, who would it be?
Oh, geez, you realize that's going to be hard to do because the Avengers have already fought Godzilla, and the Justice League is going to fight Godzilla. The Power Rangers have fought Godzilla.
True.
There's not a lot left at this point.
Okay.
I would say,
ironically, I don't think Ultraman has fought Godzilla yet.
Yes and no.
I am not counting the suit. I think Godzilla himself.
There have been official crossovers between Ultraman and Godzilla, but it was in like stage shows or late night TV. But Ultraman would be high on my list, a proper crossover. I would also probably say, considering we've gotten most of the the heavy hitters out there, I would probably say like Pacific Rim. I'd love to see Godzilla in Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
What inspired Pacific Rim?
I'm still half surprised the MonsterVerse didn't try to bring Pacific Rim into it.
Yeah, it would be very easy to do it because they already deal with parallel dimensions anyway.
Yeah.
True.
But it's because they're very similar. Both deal with kaiju. One it's about giant robots that fight kaiju, so it just seems natural that eventually you would pit the Jaegers up against the kaiju, the biggest kaiju.
We all want to watch Gypsy Danger fight Godzilla.
That's basically what it boils down to. And I have heard, and Guillermo del Toro, who is a tokusatsu fanatic, if you watch his stuff, you see it all over the place, that influence, has said he would be open to the idea of doing a crossover with Godzilla. And I swear that there have been points where somebody's tried to get Guillermo del Toro to make a Godzilla movie. And I'm high on my list of directors.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't gotten him for the MonsterVerse yet, to be honest.
It's because the guy is way too busy. That's why he did. That's why he was barely involved with Uprising, because he's just too busy.
Which is why you plan it out. It's like, okay, Godzilla 15 movies from now, you get it. Work it into your schedule, Del Toro.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, because there's been so many crossovers lately.
Yeah. Agreed.
Ultraman or Pacific Rim. Those are about the only real major ones left at this point.
So
unless you really want to start getting obscure.
Okay, so the one that's always kind of got me, because we mentioned it in the news before, and then Drew showed me the trailer to this or some kind of like demo or whatever. It was Godzilla, Ultraman, Evangelion,
the Shin Megazord,
Shin Japan Heroes.
Yes.
Shin Japan Heroes. That is not a shared universe. It's just a branding thing for
officially.
Yeah. But they made an absolutely insane short where they all combine together like they're a Megazord. They made a suit and everything. Like the transformation is CGI, but then they made a suit and it fought a monster.
Yes.
And you can buy that toy.
Yes, I saw that.
And I kind of wanted it. It's super pricey.
Yeah.
But I still kind of want it.
Oh my gosh.
There is that one character in all three in the three
it was Ava Unit 1, Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, and Shin Kamen Rider, because Kamen Rider's like, I can do stuff. But
he can form the head.
Yeah, he's the pilot, I think.
Yeah.
I think the motorcycle
sits at the top.
Yeah.
So he's forming the head.
Okay, in my defense, there again, be like, I know who you're talking about, but like socially, I think from my childhood was Masked Rider. Now, granted, I know there's a lot of people.
That's
who,
not.
Oh my gosh,
remember how I
Masked Rider.
I know, but it's based off of Masked Rider.
Remember how I brought up
Rider
Kamen Rider
is
Black
Rider,
RX?
yeah, so.
That's where they got the footage for Masked Rider.
Yes,
most of it.
Granted, in Shin Kamen Rider, they call him the Masked Rider.
Okay,
that's because that's what Kamen means. It means mask or mask. That's why it's Tuxedo Kamen instead of Tuxedo Mask. The other obvious crossover to do so we can get it properly and not just in like a mobile game would be Godzilla and Gamera.
I would
eventually
like
you
Godzilla
have to have
versus
Godzilla and Gamera. What?
I would like to see a Godzilla versus Gamera.
I thought about this one. I thought it'd be kind of funny.
It's been pitched, but it never gets anywhere because Toho says no-ho.
The one that I thought of, and I was like, ooh, this would be kind of a fun one. Godzilla versus a certain Marvel character who's been kaiju sized that is a merc with a mouth.
Deadpool?
That is voiced by a certain.
You said giant size. I'm thinking Giant Man's already fought him.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wait.
And the MCU version of Ant-Man is technically based off the Ultraman suit anyway. So
yeah. Wait. So Deadpool has
Deadpool
kaiju sized.
What
You
was
know why that's hilarious for me, right?
Yes, I know. I listened to that episode unknowingly, be like, oh, that was the season finale. Oh, here's a special guest. I was like, oh my gosh, that was cool though.
Never
in my
life, ever in my life, would I have ever expected to voice of all superheroes, Wade Wilson.
Yeah. And like how be like.
I don't know. It fits.
Away.
God help us if Deadpool and Rito ever meet.
Help you because that's gonna make you're gonna lose breath trying to do that. You'll lose your voice doing that.
Exactly. That be like I would pay money to see that recording.
Either way,
I could already tell you. I think the opening lines are going to be Rito blocks Deadpool's sword with his and says, "Hey Wade, who hired you to kill me this time?" And he says, "Yo mama." And then Rito says, "I don't even know who my mom is."
Anyway, are y'all ready to move on to X-Men?
Yes.
Speaking of Deadpool.
Speaking of Deadpool.
Yes.
Previously on X-Men.
A sulky, over bulky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived. X-Men, X-Men, it's a day, X-Men, X-Men, come and go. Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
Our first episode of the evening is Family Ties, which first aired on May 4th, 1996. It was directed by Larry Houston and Fred Miller and written by Marley Clark. In this episode, Pietro
Maximov.
I know it's Maximov. In this episode, Pietro Maximoff, aka Quicksilver of the mutant team X Factor, and his sister Wanda, the Scarlet Witch of the Avengers, learn from their dying father that they have been adopted. Magneto, who is looking for his estranged wife, may hold a clue to the Maximoff twins' past. Guest cast for this includes James Blendick as the High Evolutionary, Paul Haddad as Quicksilver, Susan Roman as Scarlet Witch, George Murner as Magneto.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
And according to this, Mark Strange is Forge. I don't remember Forge being in here.
He's seen for about a pop and he's done.
Okay.
Wait, what?
The only trivia I have for this is in this episode, it's revealed that the Maximoff twins are Magneto's kids.
Dum dum dum.
Yeah,
how the we'll love to see how the MCU does this.
Yeah.
The comics have already tried to retcon it.
I'm aware, but they did that because the comics were not trying to support the X-Men films when they were still owned by Fox.
It's dumb and
they
petty,
had to do it
and
so
I
they
don't
could
like it.
technically claim that the X-Men, the twins aren't the children of Magneto because they're not actually mutants. They're Inhumans. Yeah, we see how well that's worked out.
It's dumb.
Either way. What are y'all's thoughts on this episode?
Well, what you didn't mention is that our villain in this is not Magneto, it is the High Evolutionary.
That's because Magneto has not been a villain since episode 4
right.
of the series.
Because this is during his kind of anti-hero phase, which was what was going on largely in the 90s at this point. And you mentioned that it's revealed that he's their father. I am amazed. I just want to point this out. I'm amazed at how mature this show was willing to get with all these estranged parents and siblings, and like especially you get to the next episode and to call Mystique loose would be generous.
Yeah,
there's a word for women like her, and I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that on this podcast.
It would not have been allowed to be used in Saban's shows. So
yep. Let's just say it's also the name of a gardening tool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the High Evolutionary is the villain here, and he got a pretty high profile appearance recently because he was in Guardians 3.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. However, I would say this one is much more comic accurate compared to that one. And I would say this is a bit of a hot take for some people. I actually think that Guardians 3 undermined the High Evolutionary a bit as a threat, so I actually find this one to be more intimidating.
I don't disagree, but I still will say that scene with Rocket and his 3 friends did make me cry. So
yeah, but it didn't involve the High Evolutionary.
Yes, but it's all his fault.
Yeah, it is his fault. I'm not disagreeing with you there. So anyway. It's interesting because this is season 4 of the show.
This is technically season 4. It was, if you go by when it was released, this is the last episode of season 4. And the next one was like halfway through season 5.
I know it's
because
the
episodes are all out of order now.
Yeah, it's goofy, but it's interesting that at this point they're willing to go grab a lot of B and C list villains and just throw them into the show because they can do it now. It's not like the X-Men they were popular as comic book characters, but this is what catapulted them to, we talked about this when I was on before, this is what catapulted them to pop culture consciousness.
Well, and the fact that this is like one of the first like non-mutant related villains. Like, this is one of the few non-mutant related villains the show has actually done.
Mm-hmm.
So, because High Evolutionary, that was a major character in the Secret Wars, wasn't it? Wasn't he? Wasn't he the head, the Secret Wars guy?
I think you're thinking of the Beyonder?
Probably, but a lot of these have these kind of weird names. But he was a major character that affected all of Marvel in one of those big events. I know that.
I'll look it up. You guys keep talking.
It's been a long time since I've looked into any of this, but I thought they did a good job with going over how they were connected. I didn't even realize Magneto had a wife that these kids would have been married.
Oh, if I remember correctly, I think he's had more than one.
Probably, but admittedly, I have not kept up with the comics. So I only really know what the movies and the TV show has done, and it's been so long since I've seen the show.
This is X-Men. It's a soap opera.
I'm aware.
Agreed.
I mean, there's even a joke about it in the next episode. It's like, wow, what a soap opera.
And I know there's technically Magneto's got another kid that's hanging around somewhere out there that they haven't shown on this show yet.
Oh,
but
Polaris?
Yeah, I don't think she
showed.
She had a side role. That's what it was.
Yeah, she showed up in a side role.
But
it wasn't mentioned that she's Magneto's kiddo.
Yeah.
So
I
thoroughly.
I do like now that they're actually calling him Eric Lensher instead of Magnus all the time.
Right. So the fact that like Magneto shows up for Charles's help, and it's like, oh, I need you to use your powers and what's the computer called again?
Cerebro
to go find this place. This never takes place in the entire episode. It's never it's like, oh, I need you to do this, and he just disappears. It's like, okay, so why in the world did you go to Charles in the first place? Just to bring him into the story?
You need an excuse for Wolverine to be tagging along.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta say, Wolverine takes charge pretty well in this.
He does.
Episode.
Yeah, he does. I agree.
Though I did love that shot when of Wolverine being tied up in the control room.
Oh, that was hilarious.
With the magnetism at the beginning.
I was like, wait a minute. His master of magnetism, Wolverine with his snake claws. They're made of metal. It's more like snake. You can't move.
It really stinks for Wolverine that adamantium is magnetic.
Yeah, that is true.
Hey, Wolverine's kind of OP. They need to give him some weaknesses.
I agree.
Somehow.
True.
But overall, the story was great. You get this interesting dynamic between Pietro, Wanda, and Magneto, which is really good because they bring in I love it when they bring in Magneto. I think it's really good when they bring him in because it brings a different dynamic of the characters and story. And when you get this revelation, be like, oh, they're your children. It's like, okay, that's cool. We knew this already, but okay. Now, as a kid, I mean, like, there again, for all of us who grew up in the 90s watching this stuff, and you didn't read the comics unless you're like one of the nerds, you didn't know this. It was like, what? Are you serious?
Well, what's interesting is his plot actually is pretty clever because he wants the twins for their powers because he says, "Oh, with Quicksilver, I can make stuff faster." And but the most interesting one for me is he says that Wanda manipulates probability. I can increase my chances of succeeding in my crazy experiments.
Yes,
with
exactly.
her. I'm like, that is really interesting. That is the writers paying attention to creative uses for powers. Admittedly, Scarlet Witch's powers are weird. I mean, I've read I think what was it? Avengers Disassembled. I think it was that where even Doctor Strange is like, yeah, what she does is not entirely magic. I don't get it.
So what is Wanda's powers anyway in the comics?
I think the official description is that she casts hex spells, so she affects probability.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She primarily affects probability, but it's not magic in the same way that Doctor Strange uses casts magic.
But the thing,
not even the
what's
same way
confusing
Agatha Harkness does it either.
Yeah, but what makes it confusing is in that same story, I think someone else made a comment about how what she does is not entirely biological either, but it's not quite magic. So she's an anomaly that confuses everybody.
Yeah. And I think they've used that to their advantage many times because she's got both. Before they trying to retcon it so they could keep it all in the MCU, she was both mutant and was could do magic at the same time. So that amalgamation of powers was made for some really screwy stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
Which is why Avengers Disassembled happened, and then that dovetailed into a really interesting alternate universe story called House of M.
Yeah, I've read House of M, and that is disturbing.
It is crazy. Cause I don't know, Jacob. Basically, what happened is that Wanda got so powerful that in a moment of despair, she actually completely remade the Marvel universe where her father, Magneto, was in charge and regular humans were the minority instead of mutants.
And then after that, somehow she got rid of all the mutant powers except for like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, it was a handful. Like basically everybody who was there, because that dovetailed into what they did with it, because the X-Men status quo changed pretty hard after that.
I read that before WandaVision came out because I was just curious what they were taking it from, and that's what one of the comics everyone suggested. I'll tell you, that's not what WandaVision is actually about.
No, it's like
it's much more like the Vision comics from like 2015.
Right, but they just kind of took the reality warping concept and used it on it much differently on a smaller scale. This was the entire world that she remade. And so the other characters are slowly figuring that out because their memories were altered, but they're slowly figuring out this is not right. And then
one of the characters was dead when this happened, and she brought him back to life.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
So then they figure it out and they decide to go, to go fight him. I think one of the most interesting scenes that they had in there is one of the people that they figure out is in this reality, and they do think about going to ask him for help, was Steve Rogers. But in this version of reality, he never became Captain America. He was just a happy old man at this point. And they're like, should we really talk to him? And they said, you know what? Leave him at peace. And then they just went with who they had to go deal with the problem, so that was really interesting. But we're not talking about House of M. We're talking about this. I'll bring that up because they talk about like she's a major part of the High Evolutionaries plot, but then she never uses her powers the entire episode.
Yeah.
Her brother does, but
that being said, I was very happy to see all the Bova and all the other animal humans. Because that's what
I really appreciated Wolverine talking with Beast and making a Dr. Moreau reference. That made me happy. But that is what the High Evolutionary does. He does human animal hybrids.
Anyway, y'all ready to move on to the next one?
Sure.
Well, can we talk a little bit about Werewolverine first?
Yeah.
And how casually they do that and then fix it.
There was a good portion of the end of this episode I didn't get. Were they when High Evolutionary left, did it just reverse everything, or was this all like holograms or something? It just seemed to correct itself way too fast.
Yeah, that's true.
We got back to the status quo way too fast for it to make sense.
Yeah, I think it was like Hank said it was more like it's a man creates life, and once he leaves, it dies and disappears, or something like that.
And then that was the interesting thing, because even though High Evolutionary, I mean, it's in his name, he's about using evolution and manipulating genetics, but he uses some very religious sounding terminology in some of his lines. Like, he says, "Let there be life," and that this would be perfect without sin. I'm like, wow, dude. You just can't get away from it, can you? We get it. You're playing God.
Yes. And this isn't even the one with all the Christian undertones.
No, that's the next one.
Exactly. Yes. So let's go ahead and jump on that.
Yep.
Next episode we got is Bloodlines, which first aired August 28th, 1996. It was directed by Larry Houston and Fred Miller and written by Len Uley. In this episode, Nightcrawler finally meets his mother who gave him up, Mystique, which had been previously shown that that's who his mother was. Guest casts for this includes Chris Britton as Mr. Sinister, Jennifer Dale as Mystique, Sabretooth as I put Sabretooth as Graydon Creed Sr. I missed the guy's name. Adrian Hugh as Nightcrawler, and John Stoker as Graydon Creed Senior, Jr. Human. Because it's like Graydon Creed Human. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So this was actually the reason I went.
Trivia. This is the final appearance in the show of Sabretooth, Mystique, Nightcrawler, and Graydon Creed.
Oh.
When the trick-or-treaters arrive at the X-Mansion, two are dressed as knockoff versions of Spider-Man and Daredevil, fellow Marvel superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Mystique was revealed to be both Nightcrawler's birth mother in Nightcrawler 1995 and Rogue's adopted mother in Days of Future Past Part 2 in 1993. And here is revealed she is also Graydon Creed's birth mother as well. In response to Jubilee's question about Nightcrawler and Beast being related, Rogue quips, "Girl, that's about as likely as Nightcrawler and me being kin." The comment foreshadowing the discovery of Nightcrawler's relationship to Mystique, which was revealed to the audience in Nightcrawler, as I already said. So, yeah. So you were going to say, Nate.
I was going to say, I can't remember exactly what I was going to say, but one of the, and I remember, I wanted to be on specifically for this episode because the Nightcrawler episodes, even when I was a kid, astonished me with how forthright and genuine they wrote Nightcrawler as a Christian man.
Mm-hmm.
He is devoutly Catholic, and they make no bones about it.
Yeah.
I would love to know exactly who wrote these episodes and how, like, they had to have had somebody who was actually Catholic look these things over and be like, how would an actual devout Catholic speak? Because they don't sugarcoat it. Nothing. Like, it, Nightcrawler is about as Catholic as you can get.
Yeah.
Like, he is flat out talking about the love of God and the forgiveness of God and praying so that he can forgive his enemies and like all of these things. And he does it in both of his episodes. But I ended up coming on for this one, and it's still, watching it again for this, it still just astonishes me. It's like, man. And the only other time I can think of where they went anywhere close to this was because even though Nightcrawler's appeared in several of the X-Men movies, the only time they really embraced his Catholicism was X2. And I still don't think that it was handled as well as it was in the animated series, even though I did really like the line about, because he has one of the weird changes they made to him in that movie is he has all those tattoos. It's kind of hieroglyphic looking tattoos. And someone, I think, what was it, Storm? I think Storm asked him, how many do you have? And he says, one for every sin. I'm like, oh, I like that.
That's going to be quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the added line, which I wish wasn't there, because he said one for every sin, so there are many. I'm like, you could have just left it at one for every sin, because we see how many there are. All right.
Yeah.
But anyway, that nitpick aside, that, like I said, even in this, like, he's flat out talking about like actual sound Christian theology. He's like, I will pray for God's grace upon me, and I will pray for God's grace upon you, and that God would give me the grace to forgive you.
Yeah.
He's talking to Mystique.
Yeah.
She's like, why would you even care about me? Yeah. And they're doing it in this very over the top kind of melodramatic way, because it's a comic book show and that's what you do. That's why the soap opera joke is kind of fitting. I mean, good Lord, Creed is very melodramatic in this.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're talking about Nightcrawler.
I mean, that is the weird thing about this, because I did not, when this show started, I admittedly did not know that Sabretooth had a kid. B, that this kid was anti-mutant as in the extreme. And B,
somehow isn't a mutant.
He's also the son of Mystique.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is how two mutants had a normal child.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's a genetic lottery right there.
He's a squid.
Basically, he's the weird one. The big question is, how did he get to be an adult and not know who his parents were? Because he's he's obviously a junior, but did he not know he was a junior?
No, he knew he was a junior because they even mention it's
Yeah.
like you'd be like you have.
And I guess it
you'd
just
be like you failed to mention your mutant genetics.
And I guess it's just Sabretooth's regular name was just not known to the public, even though he was already causing so much turmoil on the news, even in the very first episode. So I guess that's how he could have gotten so far with not ever knowing about his parentage, but still, it is kind of weird how this is the one kid between Sabretooth and Mystique that didn't have a mutant ability, despite the fact she had Nightcrawler with a regular human, and he got a mutant ability. So anyway,
and nearly murdered him.
Yeah.
Again, this show is remarkably mature for a Saturday morning show.
Yes.
Well, at this point, Saban would be using everything they learned from Power Rangers to get away with whatever they can get away with. So, because they would be deep into season 3 of Power Rangers by this point.
Oh no! At this point, they're getting into Zeo.
Yeah.
But but something I noticed, both of these episodes deal with revelations and family. So that's a theme throughout both of them.
And it's weird how these ended up right next to each other. Bear in mind, when I was putting this list together back in January, February, trying to figure out how to best do these, I did not remember most of these episodes. And so I was just going by whatever Disney Plus gave me. And Disney Plus apparently decided to group these together nicely. So that's what we went with. And it's amazing it's done that well.
Yeah.
So,
because I think you were saying that you kind of hope they don't bring Nightcrawler back because you don't think
I
would do
mentioned
this.
that in the text. Is like I really hope they don't try to bring Nightcrawler into the MCU at this point, because I don't trust Disney to actually respect his Christian heritage the way this show did.
Agreed.
Yeah. I will admit, from what I have heard, Nightcrawler's Catholicism was a later development for the character.
Yes.
When he first showed up, he was just supposed to be the kind of lighthearted adventurer, swashbuckler. The Catholicism developed later.
Yeah. Wasn't he in the group in Giant Sized X-Men that joined with Storm and Wolverine and all them?
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
so.
Wolverine was later. Wolverine's first appearance was in a Hulk comic book.
I could have sworn I read I could have sworn he was in there, but anyway, doesn't matter. I'm not going to fight you over it. You're the comic book guy, not me.
Yeah, well, I'm actually double checking just to make sure. Let's see. Yes, Giant Size X-Men #1, his first appearance.
Yeah, but anyway, y'all got anything else before we cut out? Oh, I got to mention what we're doing next week because I didn't mention it on either thing.
No,
I'm slipping as a podcaster.
This.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I've said all. We've gone on long enough about this already. We can unpack it more if we wanted to, but we've hit all the high notes on this thing.
So next week, movie wise, we are actually doing a plus review because we are having 2 guests on from a show we were recently on.
Yes,
being the Rushmore show. And we are bringing them on to review Warriors of Virtue, or as I saw from the trailer, Mighty Morphin Ranger Ruse.
Oh no!
That's gonna be fun. So Kirk and Andy from the Rushmore show will be joining us for that, and they're also going to be joining us for season 4 episodes 15 and 16 of X-Men, The Lotus and the Steel, and Weapon X Lies in Videotape. Those X-Men.
Wow.
Episodes. Yeah. So join us then. Y'all got anything before we cut out of this episode?
This was a great start to Bad Movie Month.
Yes.
Just saying.
We do appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
now.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
Before I play the outro, where can we find you?
I could go on for a long time with this because I do too many things. Obviously, I am the host and curator of the Monster Island Film Falta podcast, seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. If you want to hear me go on about other tokusatsu and especially kaiju shenanigans, as of this recording, season 3, which has been way overdue. Most of it's already been recorded, and it's finally being released. That is Amerikaiju, about American kaiju films, and we will be moving into the Monster Island World Tour, which will be about kaiju films from elsewhere besides America and Japan. I am also the host of Henshin Men, a podcast about the appreciation of Japanese superheroes and their high-flying and eye-kicking adventures. It's been mostly focused on Kamen Rider, but we've branched out and done a few other things here and there related to transforming superheroes from Japan. And Drew, I promise you it's coming out.
I know y'all are busy. I'm being very patient.
I have been harping on Michael, and you're not the only one who's been asking, where's the Car Ranger episode? The others
asked.
Yeah. The other
very patient. I know y'all are busy.
Well, it's mostly Michael at this point, but I am also the co-host of the Power Trip: A Journey Through the Power Rangers franchise, where we have been doing deep dives, and I do mean deep dives, into all things Power Rangers, as we have been waiting for 30th anniversary material to come out for Power Rangers. We have been checking out Super Sentai and Power Ranger comic books. Drew was on an episode that is almost finished. I have been told by my co-host Michael Hamilton, you were on for Gekiso Sentai Car Ranger, which famously or infamously became Power Rangers Turbo.
Which I watched all of Turbo before watching Car Ranger to make sure I could answer the question truthfully, which one was better.
Which one was better? And you were my temporary co-host on Henshin Men for a little while. And
I am looking forward to that episode of Power Trip, so everyone can hear my feelings about butt naked Dapu.
It's a thing. It's a thing. And as I've already mentioned,
I did mention that on this show.
Yes, you did.
Yep. And as I mentioned a bit earlier, I am one of the cast members for Scyther Inc. Productions. For their fan-produced audio dramas. I've most famously have been Rito Revolto, or in this case, Rito Bandora, on Power Rangers, the audio drama, and I was recently cast, of all people, as Deadpool on X-Men, the audio drama, and I have been told Deadpool will be coming back at some point. I was just a post-credit gag at this point. So... yeah,
well, they got to do the circle chase at some point, of course.
Yeah, they do. And otherwise, I am also an author. And if you want to check out my writings, I have a bunch of books out there right now, about I think 10 or 12 at this point to my name. Check out nathanjsmartin.com. That's my author website. And also be sure to check out Kaiju Ramen magazine. I am the editor for them, and I'm one of their staff writers. Issue 10 is out right now. I think, or is very close to coming out, and it's got the best cover we've ever done. It's a holographic version of Rainbow Ghidorah, which was the original concept for him, but he wasn't gold initially in the planning stages. He would have had a much wilder color scheme. And that is going to be our cover for this. And the theme of that issue will be Godzilla's greatest enemies. And as you would expect, I wrote about King Ghidorah and his origins and his symbology, because it's actually very interesting. I found out the obvious things that people would expect, the Hydra, the Orochi, but then I found out there's actually a Soviet dragon that inspired Ghidorah as well. A different kind of communist. A more respectable communist than the ones in North Korea.
One that didn't claim the Titanic sank, but with no one dying.
Yes, quite.
True.
Yeah. So I think I've hit most of the important things. You can find links to all the socials, for the podcasts, and and me as an author and everything on all of those websites. MonsterIslandFilmVault.com. or the podcast. You guys have been on several episodes of the Film Vault, and there's more coming. So
Indeed.
I'm looking forward to that. Basically, anytime I have to do anything animated, or you guys sponsor something because you're patrons, which definitely check out MIFV Max on Patreon. I have some amazing patrons, and I'd love to count you among them. So, for those of you who are listening, so you get some really great perks starting at just $3 a month. And one of them is you can actually sponsor episodes, which you guys have done a couple of times. We've done Mighty Morphin the movie, and you've already sponsored the Zillow Beast episodes for Clone Wars. And
I think I've already got a third one on that list too.
Yes, which I will announce at a later date. I'm not quite ready for that one yet. But yeah, basically anytime I do anything animated and kaiju, I have to bring you guys on, which is why very soon we will be doing yet another crossover for what I hope, at least so far anyway, will be a superior kaiju anime because it's a real anime. Gamera Rebirth.
Gamera is really neat. He is filled with turtle meat.
And he's better than Annie.
Yes. And you could claim he's already been on this show because of Frankenweenie.
Hashtag throw the whale.
Yes, throw the whale.
One of the only good parts of that entire show.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm done monopolizing your time.
All right. We'll just see y'all next time. But in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And this is Nathan.
And we'll catch you.
And Jimmy.
Yeah. And we'll catch you in the next frame. D-Lit.
Come on, D-Lit.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day.
I try.
His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography.
I got some new stuff coming up
His
soon.
Letterboxd page at GGeorge759.
He made new credits?
His Twitter
What?
at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher,
Not anymore.
Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you
Did you
found
guys get
us, and
banned
also
from a
on
podcast
Podchaser.
platform?
Email
Talk
us
about
at
it
thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Magical moonbeams. Who thinks this crap up?
Who created Sailor Moon again?
I don't remember her name.
If it's Fighting by Moonlight again, we're good. We got some problems.
Okay, that's the end of the episode.
Nice.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. We'll see y'all guys later.
Oh, wow.
Did it end?
No.